Well, thank you guys for coming. I was going to ask, show of hands, who was at our last event last year? We did a roundtable about, Andy was here? Yeah. Tina was here. Awesome. This is great. Big thank you to Andy at Drum Supply for hosting yet again.
Love you, Andy.
So we're just going to go around the room and kind of introduce our featured panelists. I guess we'll start with Molly Rose here. Just read some quick background on all of our guests here.
Boom.
Molly Rose, episode 53. So these are all past podcast guests. You can learn more about them wherever you stream podcasts.
Ooh, I want to read it.
Go for it.
Fueled by a love of country music and lifelong dream to move to Nashville 3 years ago, Molly made the move from California after graduating from the Musicians Institute. Since then, she's had the privilege of playing for artists like Tanner Adell, Sophia Scott, Maggie Baugh, Austin Snell, Upchurch, and more through her social media accounts, amassing over 560K followers. That's crazy. She shares what it's really like to be a working drummer and aims to inspire others chasing their own musical dreams. Ooh, ooh.
Let's go.
Hello.
All right, Ethan Harb, episode 5 and episode 63. We're lucky to have him back on the show.
You can't get rid of me.
Can't get rid of him. Since moving to Nashville in 2019, Ethan has quickly become a sought-after talent, performing with acts like Trey Lewis, John Langston, Avery Anna, Levon, and Ben Gallagher. He's currently the drummer for Skylines and Satellites, Bonk, which has garnered widespread recognition through his viral video series, How to Get Fired from a Gig. He's also been working on his home studio where he does remote tracking for a variety of artists and genres. Welcome, Ethan.
Next, we have Nico Medina, episode 7. For more than a decade, Nashville-based drummer Nico Medina has built a reputation as one of the city's most versatile and reliable musicians. Nico is currently on the road with rising country artist Avery Anna. When he's back home in Nashville, he anchors the main stage at Kid Rock's, performing Thursday through Sunday with Dean James and The Treatment from 6 to 10 p.m.
What's up, Kevin Keefe?
Hi.
Episode 20. Kevin is a multi-instrumentalist from Midland, Michigan. He is the drummer for the national touring act Too Hot for Leather, a band that got its start right here on Lower Broadway. In addition to being the drummer, he also handles backing vocals, keyboard production, and overall production and songwriting. When he's not on Broadway or on the road, he enjoys production work out of his Read My Mind studio in his home in Hendersonville. Welcome, Kevin.
All right. And now we have Kyle Law. Episode 59. Kyle Law is a Nashville-based live and session musician, drummer, and singer-songwriter. That's my favorite little detail.
Thanks,
because you're actually really fucking good at that. Sorry, I don't know if I can cuss. I'm going to. Throughout his career, Kyle has shared the stage with a diverse range of iconic artists across multiple genres, including Billy Gibbons, Tim Montana, Johnny Hyland, Reggie Wooten, Paul Warren, Ike Stubblefield. I mean, you're just showing off at this point. Colby Kaye, and Ted Nugent, among others. When he's not touring the U.S. or performing internationally, Kyle remains an active part of the Nashville music scene, playing regularly at local clubs and venues.
So today's topic, of course, is breaking into Broadway. Just show of hands, who is maybe in the audience currently playing Broadway or want to be playing down there? Wow, that's pretty much most of us. Very cool. So this will be a pretty open-ended discussion. We're going to have a chance for audience Q&A kind of towards the end as well. And definitely stick around to hang. And we have some prizes to give away from our awesome sponsors. And then Andy has mentioned the shop is technically open. We're giving away or 5% off any product, including podcast merch that's in store. So we thought it'd be a good icebreaker to start. Maybe we go around the room, starting from Molly. Or maybe we can start first of just sharing our first Broadway shift.
Oh God, I'm nervous.
What was your first Broadway shift and how did it go? Should we start, I guess? Or?
No, I want Molly to start. I'm nervous.
Yeah. Right, you want me to start?
I can start.
Okay, you can start.
My first Broadway shift was at Kid Rock's, I think on the rooftop. And it was not amazing. When I first moved to Nashville, I kind of knew how to start with the Broadway stuff. And the first gig I got was really rock heavy. So yeah, it went okay, but not amazing.
How many years ago was that? Do you remember?
About 3 years ago.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is that me?
That's you.
Oh yeah.
Oh, man. My first gig was Tootsie's Back Room with Greg Chapman, R.I.P. And I was just kind of given a chance by a friend because I guess I'd been, down there trying to network for a couple months before that. But someone gave me a chance to play the back room, I think a morning shift sometime in 2020, pre-pandemic, obviously. And it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad, but I remember I couldn't even get through Dixieland Delight. It was that bad. And really, yeah.
It's a song that really kicked my...
But what I loved is afterwards, they gave me my tip money and they're like, you know what? It was rough, but I could tell you were listening and just continue to keep learning your stuff and continue what you're doing. And eventually it won't suck.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful for that.
Hell yeah.
My first shift was at Rippy's Side Room, and I answered a Facebook little thing, need a drummer, and I was like, all right, I'm going to go for it. And it was, I believe it was a closing shift, and I didn't know you needed to bring a throne. So it was that, and so I parked at the library garage. I'm already running late, and I get there, and I don't have a throne, and the singer guy who was front, he sometimes played drums. He's like, hey, I got a throne in my truck. Here are my keys. I'm parked on the third floor of the library. So I'm hustling, going. I get there, get to the third floor, I get his keys, and I realize it doesn't have a clicker. It's a manual. So I'm looking for, he got to put it in twist, so I can't even search for it. So I'm going around looking inside people's trucks, like a white truck, and I'm just looking sus, Find it, get there, got it, and it's 6:20, and it's Rippy's sad room, and here we go. And I didn't know any of the songs. Guy named Jeff was playing bass, and he'd been in town for a while, and I didn't know anything. And I remember distinctly Dixieland Delight, which him trying to get me through a song that has 3 different feels and tempo changes. But at the very end, he's like, hey man, you didn't know anything, but there was some moments, and then he gave me the Dropbox link. He's like, hey, just Spotify and just look at these songs. And then he was the one that said, I'll give you another chance. And that was my little first opportunity.
Oh, that's a great story. I don't remember you sharing that on your episode.
Oh yeah, no, it was.
Yeah,
it's brutal.
You made it out. Yeah.
It's exciting.
Yeah. So my first Broadway shift was at a Lucky Bastard Saloon on the main floor, and got lucky that way. The person that hired me was actually the guitar player I play with in my band now, Ryan, and he was looking for a drummer for that night. I was in town for probably about 3 weeks, and I got lucky in the way that it was a pretty rock forward gig, and I didn't move here really knowing country. It was kind of the opposite thing. I came as a rock kid, and I've had to learn how to play and country tunes. But this is a rock forward gig. So, Monday of the gig, I get a message from a high school friend of mine who had filmed a music video for him. And he was sending me screenshots of the gig finder because the gig finder wouldn't approve me, even though I had a reference at the time. This is 2021, and the admins of the old gig finder just wouldn't approve people. I guess that's what they tell me. So I'd been there for 3 weeks, had people say yes, I approve of this person is real. They didn't let me in the gig finder. So he was sending me screenshots of things that he thought I would be applicable for. And he sent me a screenshot of the list, and it was all this rock stuff. And I was like, cool, I'm going to message him on Facebook. And my buddy's like, no, here's his phone number. Text him, tell him I sent you. Don't go through Facebook. So I texted him, and he's like, cool, you know these tunes? I was like, yes. He's like, cool, see you Friday. Don't screw it up, And it was a 10 to close gig. I hadn't played a 10 to close gig, and it was just driving it was like riding shotgun in a sports car on the Indy 500, and it was terrifying. But got through it, knew enough of the tunes where it was I could at least show that I sort of knew what I was doing. They helped me through whatever I couldn't get through. That was also before Lucky Bastard had in-ear monitors, so everything was on wedges. So I walked away with no hearing, after that gig, but it was like you knew when you met somebody that you wanted to play with, and I got really lucky in that way. So it was a really good first gig.
Yeah.
It was really fun.
Just out of curiosity, was that the OG Gig Finder or was that the not so lame?
That was the
Finder?
OG Gig Finder.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Dude, not so lame one, man.
It's not as lame, that's for sure.
It's not.
Yeah.
But that same problem is happening right now with the new one.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I've been
real
trying to
lame,
get my
dude.
boy in that group forever and keeps getting denied.
Goes around, comes around, right?
All right, Kyle, what about you?
My first gig was at Paradise Park, like 7 or 8 years ago, with Jay Taylor, actually, old Jay Taylor. And I knew the songs because I had been touring with him, like on the Tin Roof circuit, pretty regularly before that. And I had done like some wedding bands and stuff prior when I first moved into town. But I remember specifically about that gig, we had everybody in the original band on the gig except for the bass player. And the bass player got called to do the gig the day of. And it was like a 2 to 6. And he didn't get a set list. He didn't get anything. And he showed up and he knew every single tune on our list. And I was like, how do you get to that point where you know that many songs and could just show up? But the answer is he had been doing Broadway for like 10 years. He is like one of the OG Broadway rats. And I just remember like thinking like, man, I'd love to get to a point where like I can just roll onto any gig and be fine, And then I put 8 more years of it. And I feel like I'm maybe not exactly at that point now, but like I feel like I can roll into most gigs and do just fine and not know the set because I've just spent so much time like learning the vernacular and like going through the impossible and never-ending list of Broadway tunes, because there's constantly new ones that are getting added, and you have to keep learning. Like there's no like, oh, I learned the songs and then you stop. Like it doesn't work like that. You have to keep charting, But
Yeah, we're
anyways.
definitely going to cover charting and versus memorization and learning songs, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, what about you, Nate?
Stop yelling at me.
My first gig was at the Tin Roof with a guy named Tyler Gordon, and I sucked. I was terrible. I didn't know anything. We did that Keith Urban tune. Why am I blanking on it? It's the
Somebody Like You.
Yeah. And I didn't know about that little pause at the end, so I just played right on through there. No, actually, I missed. I was like, oh, there's drop. Oh, it's a 2-beat drop.
The bar 2?
Dope. Totally missed that. That was horrible. He had a whole bunch of other stuff lined up too. He was like, hey man, sorry. I can't have you play those other gigs because you don't know anything, but come back later because you're good. I was like, okay, I'll try to learn the songs, my guy. Anyway, that's my first gig.
And yeah, fast forward. So Nate you're full-time down there now.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many days a week are you down there?
I'm down there 6 shifts. So I'm down there, but 4 days. Yeah.
Nice, dude.
You've come a long way.
Yeah.
Nice.
It can happen even if you suck, like me.
You don't suck.
I'm trying to think. For reference, I don't really do the Broadway thing, but I'm trying to get into it more. So I put this on just for myself, more or less. No, I am. My first shift was Mellow Mushroom. It was a Facebook group recommendation. Someone was like, "Hey, come sit in." I was so nervous. The guy I forget his name, but he was like, "Make sure you learn Wagon Wheel," which I later found out was a joke. But I was so stressed.
I had the same experience.
Go deep.
Well, we've been throwing out some terms, and again, for people that are new, I think maybe it'd be a good chance to kind of define some vocabulary that we're talking about. First thing we've talked about is like shifts. So maybe just like someone want to answer, what is a Broadway shift? What does that mean?
So it's
Wow.
so a Broadway shift is from downbeat to the end of when you're scheduled to play. It's a window of time where you're hired as a band musician to go to a venue bar and to just play basically straight through with no breaks. Sometimes you can build in bathroom breaks within, but we call it a shift because it's a job. It's your job to go down and entertain the crowd. And so it's just that window of time. So it'll be anywhere from 10 a.m. in the morning till 2. They're about 4-hour blocks. Usually they can vary depending on the venue, the floor you're on, the day of the week, the time of year. But usually it's about 4 hours from either 10 to 2, 2 to 6, 6 to 10, or 10 p.m. to close. That's
Unless you're one of the weird clubs.
A+.
no, thank you.
Thanks, man.
Unless you're one of the weird clubs.
Yeah, there are clubs that have like.
Don't forget about the weird clubs.
There are
That's
clubs that do
couple
like
that overlap.
3:30 to 8:30, like they just offset the shifts just to piss everybody off, so you can't do doubles. But
yeah.
like I did a shift at Old Red on Sunday, and it was like 3:30 to 8. It was very weird.
Well, it's cool hearing you guys just give the introductions because, like, again, these are some of Nashville's, like, I would say most in-demand drummers on Broadway and off Broadway. But, like, to hear you guys start from literally nothing and to hear, like, it didn't, pretty much you all said it didn't go well, right? So I think that's very humbling and should give people, the confidence that it's probably not going to go great for the first time for
2 out
anybody.
of 5.
You know what I mean?
Literally two out of 5, and one of them y'all had been playing together.
Yeah. Oh,
You
I
know,
did a
so-
proper Broadway gig later with like musicians that were not people I'd play with, and I completely ate shit the whole time. So
Oh, yeah. All right. So there's like 1 for 5. We'll give that. Like, it's gonna suck.
Yep.
Because I mean, there's a million songs, but everyone does it their own way, and each band does it their own way. So you just gotta like have to jump and just kind of go for it, and eventually you'll kind of get into a flow of something. But if you're just waiting, like, I'm gonna maybe one more week. I'm going to learn maybe like 8 more songs, and then like I'll feel a little bit more comfortable. Maybe I'll respond to that Facebook message or that text. Like if you're waiting for that, you're never going to do it. And it's going to be okay. It's not like we're doctors or anything. No one's going to get hurt.
Yeah. I feel like if you're thinking in that regard too, of like, maybe I just give it 1 more week because if you already have that mindset of like, I need to do my homework, I feel like that already separates you from a lot of the people that come to town and just be like, I can do anything. Because there's a lot of people that come in and, think they're hot shit or whatever. And because I always think like, everyone talks about, there's so many people moving to Nashville a day. But then you think, well, how many people are leaving though?
right.
And not to act in like a cutthroat way or whatever. That's just the nature of it, is if you give a shit. Am I allowed to curse? I don't even know if.
Yep.
I think so.
They already did. So.
I already checked.
If you give a shit, like it'll come across. But there's a fine line of like, caring too much where you have paralysis and you can't actually make the jump.
right.
But if you're already thinking that way, then it's probably best to just jump and go for it.
Yeah, Nico had one of the best lines ever on the history of our podcast. I'm going to say. He said, jump and the net will appear. And I forget the context of our discussion, but that was gold. I think that definitely applies more so for Broadway.
Shout out Michael O'Connor. It's the guy who I'm named after.
There you go.
But he told my dad that, and my dad always just said like, hey man, there are times in life I wish I would have jumped. So don't just jump. It'll all work out. That's
true.
And so again, like I played a gig. It sucked, but I met a guy named Jeff, and he gave me an opportunity. And then that led to other little opportunities, which has, again, led to full-time working as much as I want. So I'm again very grateful for that. Again, I cared, but I didn't let the pursuit of perfection stop me. You're gonna mess up. I played this past weekend and I biffed some stuff. And the point of like, my band, we're all very close, but it's the point where, we'd look at it like, yo, what was that? It's all right. And we moved on, and it was cool. Like most of it was really good. So it's going to be okay.
Yeah, and the point of Broadway is it's not necessarily to know every song. It's to build the muscle of not knowing every song and being able to get through the ones that you don't know because you've bullshitted so many times over and over and over again that you develop like that ability to get through it. So it's okay, like if you screw up, you just want to try to keep the embarrassment to a minimum. Yeah. Like it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's not about if, it's when.
Yeah, when you're playing through 10 cajillion different songs, that's an inevitability. You can't avoid biffing it. You're going to biff it. Someone is going to be in the room and be like, "That's not how that goes." At some point, that's just going to happen to you. So
somebody's going to laugh at you.
Yeah, you're not going to make everybody happy. Someone's going to have been like, "Oh, you could have played it like the record," or they could have been like, "Oh, that was like It's never going to be 100%. That was awesome." That's okay. As long as the person who hired you thought that was awesome, you're golden.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a people game too, because like that's the number one thing is to make sure the person who is paying you is happy, like regardless if they're doing something wrong or right, which is a whole nother conversation. But like I play with so many different people who want the same songs at vastly different tempos, and you know sometimes they're so far away from what the record is. I'm just sitting there like hitting myself in the face with a drumstick because like what the fuck are you guys doing? Like this is nothing. But that's just the nature of what it is. Like. You have to kind of be okay with that if you want to get paid. And like there is an exercise in like humbling yourself, you know, and learning that like it's about the gig, you know, it's not about your ego, it's about the gig. And sometimes like you might figure out something that you didn't know was going to works. Like sometimes those songs do feel good when they're way faster than the record.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true. Hey drummers, do you need a place to practice on actual drums? Drumbox has locations in Lafayette and Longmont, Colorado, and their newest location is right here in Nashville, Tennessee. You can book sessions online and get the space to yourself. Each Drumbox location is fully equipped with 2 kits, cymbals, hardware, and even sticks are provided. 30-minute, 1-hour, and 2-hour sessions are available at www.drumbox.space. Use the coupon code NDP25 for 25% off your first session. The coupon code is valid at all 3 locations. Again, that's www.drumbox.space.
Yeah, so obviously there's value of just kind of jumping in, saying yes to the gig. But there's also, you know, obviously the reason we're here is to give people tactics to prepare and to be as prepared as possible. What makes a drummer Broadway ready? Because again, everyone here also has other touring gigs, artist gigs, which we'll get into in that crossover. But what kind of separates the, you know, just being a good drummer, which if you're in this town, you probably already, you know, you're the best in your hometown kind of a thing. But specifically playing down on Lower Broadway, having to adapt, what are some attributes?
I'd say the first thing is knowing the songs, which, you guys have talked about pretty much the whole time, but I mean, that's really the number one thing is just knowing the material, going from country to rock to pop to, I mean, it's really, unfortunately, anything. I mean, God knows what songs you're going to play. Being able to read charts, you know, the Nashville number system, that's really important. Just not overplaying and being crazy, you know, just being also like just knowing how to just kind of follow someone else's lead too. Like if I don't know a song, but the guitar player knows it, look at him and kind of know like, okay, he's playing that chord on the chart, that's a C or whatever. So even just kind of general knowledge of music is good as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the knowledge is probably the biggest thing, right? Like being able to guide people through tunes too. Like if you're a drummer and like you got a bass player, it's like, oh shoot, man, like I don't necessarily really know this. Like I kind of know the general overview of it, but I know there are some things that happen in this song. Being able to like music direct from the drum chair as well, like being able to assist other people. That's a big thing because that way the front of the group whose one sole job it is to entertain the crowd, right? And to run the show. They don't have to do the music directing. Like if you can do that for a vocalist downtown, they'll call you back every time because they can just worry about getting out in front of the people and entertaining them and keeping them in the room. But yeah, like being able to help people is huge.
Yeah.
No.
Show of hands, who up here uses charts like regularly on the gig? Or, I mean, I guess can have the ability to read charts. Yeah. Not you, Nate.
I don't touch the stuff.
I write my own though, so they're like my charts.
Oh yeah, that's fun. I got a kind of funny story with Kyle and charts. Kyle and I used to live together.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, 6 years. There's like 4 drummers in the house. 636, shout out.
I passed out on your couch during Halloween when you guys were living together.
Yeah, dude. So this was one of the people.
Yes, you did. I forgot about that.
And he videoed me, weirdo.
Yo, you should have seen what I did to you when you were asleep.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, I forgot.
Better times.
So my first oh crap moment where someone was like, hey man, can you do this gig? Yes. All right, here's the set list. Here's 40 songs. And like, you're not going to play it like this, but we're going to call about 20 of these and the rest are going to be requests. And so I looked at it and know any of them. And you kind of like, oh, I kind of know the hook. You know, I can kind of hum it, but like there's a bridge and there's going to be something weird. You don't really know it. And so I was helping out Kyle and he was playing with this guy named Jay Taylor. And it was like a tin roof run. We went to like Cincinnati, something like that. And he had it recorded on a phone. So I just went through and I just,
that was like a Civil War phone too.
Yeah, it was tough. It was like looking through a microwave. But I had to figure out make charts. And Kyle said, "Hey, I have charts for it." And then he handed me his charts. And no knock on Kyle, but there's no way I could have read that. I'm gonna just picture Kyle does this thing. Imagine a piece of paper. And I don't know if he still does this, but he puts his information in the middle, going down. And he'll put information to the left sometimes, or most of the information on the right. So I'm looking at it, and I'm like, and he'll write out his rhythms without bar lines.
It's like a Venn diagram rather than a
so
chart.
yeah, but it works for Kyle. I look at it, I don't know, but if Kyle had to scribble something down, one listen through, and then played it, he can do it. So that's a great chart. Yeah. But that's Kyle's chart, So don't let the thing of charting well, if I hand this to someone, can they read it? Who cares if you can get through it? So what I would do, I was, all right, what's the song called? Cool. I can categorize that. All right. Are we in 4/4 or are we in 6/8? It's going to be one of the two most of the time. Is there a drum fill to start? Okay. What's the tempo? Once I got that information, okay, there's an intro. It's like 4 bars. I put intro 4.
Right.
Verse, it's 8 bars long, so I'll put verse 8. Then we go to the chorus. And then let's say the kick drum pattern is boom, snap, boom, boom, snap. All right, 1 little 1 on the low, 1 on the high, 2 on the low, 1. And I'm like, okay, cool. It doesn't have to be perfect, but can we get the feel right? Can people down there sing along and get the idea, And so if I would have had something like that for Dixieland Delight, I would have known that hey, we're going to start there. It's going to start with a little 2 beat. You're going to be grooving, and you're going to play a little train beat later on. There's going to be a tempo change. I don't need to write out all the details, but if I know a macro of what happens, I'm going to do all right. Then I can use my eyes and my ears when I get on stage. I can look at the bass player. I can look at, hey, how are we going to do this? That allows me to say yes to a gig, and then 24 hours later, attempt 40 songs. Or unless if I tried to memorize, the first time I did a gig like that, it wasn't downtown, but it was a hometown gig, and again, 40 songs, and it was girl country, so I really didn't know any of it. And I, quote unquote, charted these 40 songs on 2 pieces of paper. Front and back, that's it. I wrote the song, and I put 2 feel, drum intro, solo, weird. Next song. That didn't get me anywhere. It was awful. But if I would have just known, just write out the map, verse, chorus, write down a number. If you don't know how to notate, that's okay. You know how to, write down those little things. If you do that, take a picture of it, get a Google Drive, upload it to there, and then say, when I played with Jay Taylor, for instance, that was 40 songs I had. And then my next gig, it was with a female artist. So there's another 40. And of those 40, maybe 15 of those overlapped. So then now I have close to 80 songs in a chart. And I just have it all on my Google Drive. So if someone calls a song, oh, hey, I did chart that a while back.
Yeah, as Kyle said, you're never done. You just keep evolving.
Yeah.
The arsenal just keeps growing.
Always make it better.
You don't have to make it legible for anyone but yourself.
That's right.
I think something that's really important to Nico alluded to it a little bit there, where it's if your chart then also allows you to be present within the song, within the band. There's not so much information on it where you're because I was playing on a gig and I have a couple friends who use Ultimate Guitar has a notation function for bass, right? Where it's not tablature, but it's actually notation. And guys that play on cruise ships, they can just pull those up and they can play note for note and they just sight read. The tough thing about that is then you're just glued to your chart. And that's the danger of just because I think we're going to talk about, I'm sorry if I'm getting ahead of us, stop me if we are, but the playing charts, but also you got to know the tune. But if you're getting into a gig and you haven't necessarily played it before, it's good to make sure that your chart isn't so detailed that you're going to be just all I got to do is read the notes. Like that guy that was reading the ultimate guitar charts was like, oh, hey, dude, it does that for drums too. You could just read the drum chart. And it's like, no, absolutely not. Because you don't know what's going to happen within the course of the gig. And just with the play of live music, it's okay to watch and play off of like, that's what we're all kind of there for, is to enjoy each other's company too. So if the chart is so detailed that you're then not tuned into the band at all, then your bandmates aren't going to have a good time either, because you may have played it like pretty accurately, but you were just in a box, and no one was there. So detailed enough, organized enough, and not so detailed that it removes you from the gig. It was just the one thing I wanted to point out. He said it was a really good point, like enough that you can make the gig more fun for everybody else.
I totally agree. And every gig has a different level of responsiveness to the moment. Some gigs are more like, we're playing it pretty much exactly like the record, so learn it just like the record. There are people who are there, they see playing on Broadway as more of almost like a way to represent history. And then there's people who are just like, I just want to play these songs and make a living and do the thing. And those people tend to be a little bit more flexible, but you got to read that in the room with those people when you're playing with them.
It doesn't necessarily behoove you to sometimes to learn things exactly like the record, because the amount of people that I play with down there who don't even know what the record does, it would blow your mind, because they learn the song based on the Dropbox charts, that like the massive link, and like they just read the numbers. Like they don't know about the nuances in that song. So I'll show up and I'll play like the record kick pattern, and then the bass player is doing something completely different. I'm like, why does this sound like shit all of a sudden? Oh, it's because you're not playing it correctly. I guess I should figure out like how to make this work. And the answer is like, the correct way is the way that sounds good. Like, so if you have two people playing different shit and one guy knows the record and one doesn't, like, you both sound like assholes.
Yeah.
Like, you have to find the middle ground. So I'm not saying not to learn like the record. You should always know that.
It's a good place
because
to
there are
start.
people that will try to school you down there on that sometimes. And so it's good to have that information, just so, you can be like, actually, you don't know what you're talking about. But you also like need to be flexible as well.
And that's what they're saying. What is it? The correct way in the Broadway?
Exactly.
So it was
The
that-
right way, the wrong way.
The right way, the wrong way, and the Broadway.
That was it. Yeah. I don't remember quotes correctly, but there's so much truth in that. And that's just like, it's like, you don't have to get in a skirmish with those that think they know, but at the same time, it's good to have that information in your back pocket, like you said, and just be open to like, I don't know. I feel like just being down there, the more you're down there, the more you start kind of getting a feel, even if it's someone you've never played with. I find my stuff guessing, like, I'll bet they're going to miss the 2-bar here or whatever. I'm almost like, not to get cocky, I'm like almost right every single time. You just kind of get a feel for that. And it's just start by learning the record and then adjust from there. I think that's
I would add to that. I mean, the record's a great place to start. But like learn the live version. Go watch YouTube videos you're playing a live show. You're not in the studio. You know what I mean?
Right. WFL III Drums is the company of Bill Ludwig III, grandson of the original founder of Ludwig Drums. After selling the Ludwig Company in 1981, Bill III spent years out of the industry, but in 2014, he brought his dream to life of starting his own drum company, WFL III Drums, making drums the way his grandfather and father taught him, and bringing back the classic resonant sound with modern feel and finishes. Their newly introduced pure tone shells are a configuration of ultra-thin plies of 100% American hard maple. Never under wraps, paint only. Their factory is located in Lenexa, Kansas, and welcomes visitors to tour or try out some of their drums in their display room. Check them out on social media or meet Bill Ludwig III at the many drum shows they attend. WFL III Drums, the sound of generations.
Let's kind of jump into getting gigs, saying yes to gigs. We've mentioned like Facebook groups and Dropbox and all these different resources. 2026, how are you getting gigs? Where are these opportunities coming from?
Mostly people.
I know you guys already kind of have set shifts, but like for someone new coming in, I guess where's a good place to start?
You got to build your network. Like that's the number one thing. Like you have to go out and meet people. I remember when we were living at the drum house, like we had this this mutual drummer that lived there, Sam Brown, and he got his first Broadway gig by going in and just being like, "Hey, dude, you need to take a piss because I can play drums," and just doing that. And then eventually he did that enough times where the bass player was like, "Hey, man, this drummer's kind of good," and then he got the gig. And it's like, you just got to find your in, and once you find your in, like you kind of network based out of that. Because like if you go do a gig and there's 4 people on that gig, chances are the bass player's got other gigs, the guitar player's got other gigs, the lead singer's got other gigs, and 1 to 4 of those people in that band are going to call you for those other gigs. And then you just continue to expand off of that. And you do that for so many years, and you have a gigantic call list. And then
you got to
can
be
pick and
present. You got to
choose.
show up to win.
Yeah, you got to show up. Say yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I remember Ethan shared a story on our interview, our first interview.
Shame me
of what-
once
of what
again.
not
Go
to do.
for it.
Yeah.
Go for it. Just shame me.
I don't know if you want to share that again here, but there's definitely things of probably what you shouldn't do as well.
I'm happy to share it because it is
I'm gonna
funny
make you
as hell
share it,
now.
yeah.
Okay.
It's a good
Basically, I mean, I did what Kyle was saying Sam did, and just kind of when I got here, I was fortunate enough to have just nothing else to do. So I was just like, all right, I'm going to just go down to Broadway every single day and just walk up and down the strip as long as I could until my feet got tired and say, hey, like, you want to take a piss? I can jump in or whatever. Or like, I'm Ethan. I moved to town. Nice to meet you guys. I'm just trying to get my name out. And I feel like even just being that earnest can already get you pretty far because everyone's so nice here. Everyone's that Southern hospitality, like people, it's real. So you do that enough times, you get your name out. Yeah. Well, but the one mistake I did make is, okay, I get social anxiety a lot. And just one day I was down there, I just, for some reason, my social meter was starting to cap. And I was just, I'm not excusing what I did, but I started getting weird and started acting weird with people. And I walked in to, it was, what was Crazy Town? Casa Rosa is now, it used to be Crazy Town, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it was when it was Crazy Town. It was a guy named JJ Flores and Miho. They were doing an acoustic set, and I didn't talk to them. I literally just put my business card in the tip jug because I just didn't know how to be a person for a second. And then JJ put it on Facebook being like, hey, I guess I better hire this guy. He whatever the opposite of doxing is, he blocked out my information. And then he hit me up. He's like, hey, dude, like,
Don't do that.
don't do that again. We're cool, but just don't do that again.
Yeah.
And luckily he let me sit in like later that week and we were all good. But I remember, that was never do that. That was, I mean, it should be common sense, but I don't know what came over me that day. And I was like, I need to meet people, but I also need to not talk, and stupid.
You know what's really funny is technically Luke Zidell did that to us.
No way.
But here's the thing. So he did do you guys remember when he like first moved to town by any chance? Like, dude, he was like a puppy dog. He's the cutest guy in the world. If you ever meet him, he's another guy like just talked to him. He's super sweet. Luke is like maybe my favorite human being in town. He's just an incredible human being.
And the best posture I've ever seen.
Incredible dude. It's
just so good.
impeccable.
One of Elitch's little.
Just ridiculous. But it was funny because he moved to town. He was new, he was younger, but he came up and said like he introduced himself to us, and then after he got done playing, handed us his business card. So there was a little bit of like a introductory thing, and then he handed it like
But he didn't put it in the tip jar.
No, he didn't put it in the tip jar, but he did use one. It's like the business card's not the issue, I don't think, right? Like that's totally cool.
It's the
it's
way
like,
you do it. Yeah.
It's okay to do that. Like, it's people remember you, they can pull it out later or whatever, 'cause you don't have time to exchange phone numbers while someone's gigging or whatever. But I think it's maybe just like the introducing yourself thing. Like be personal.
Yeah, that's number one.
Like just let them know that you're a human being, that you appreciate what they're doing too. You know that they're working, but that you want to do what they're doing. Like, and that's where the community gets built. It's like, we all know what it's like. Okay. So, we're not trying to turn anybody away or make anyone's life hell, but we just want to make sure that you understand, I guess, like if someone walks in, I'll make sure that they understand like that this is a job, I'm working. Just if we mutually respect that, then we're totally cool.
Absolutely.
That's 100%. Because like and just remember like they can't say no as well. Like going back to like Sam Brown and I, like Sam Brown, we were just going around. We would just ask like, hey, you need a break or you need a break? Tyler Bronson. I remember the first time I like ran into him, phenomenal player. And I'm just watching, I was like, man, I love this guy's approach. This guy sounds really good. And I remember looking at him, making eye contact. We're in tin roof on the first floor. And I do like the little, hey man, do you need a break? And he just looks at me like this, who the hell do you think you are? And I was like, oh, yo, I like this guy. But I was like, yo, I get it, big dog. This is your gig. And I looked around. I'm like, it's bumping. You don't know who I am. Like, yo, I understand that. Like, and later on, like, we're cool. Like, but like Kevin, like he said, like, we're working.
Yeah.
So just if you respect that, it's like, yeah, and come up and just be personable. Yeah. And like most of the time we do want to break, but sometimes it might not be a good time because we have a sub on the bass and things are kind of rough and you just don't know that. And we're kind of like, we're holding together and our singer's really stressed out right now. And if I don't know you, but if you come up here and don't do a good job, then I'm going to get in trouble. So nothing personal. I'd love to talk to you. You come back. But like, just go out there and take it seriously. If you really want to like play down there, like Ethan said, like just go and just be down there and don't expect anything. Like go walk around for a shift or two and like go, maybe not the beginning, go in the middle. Like if you're going to go for 4 hours, maybe not go from 2 to 6, maybe go from 4 to 8 so you can see 2 different shifts and see the changeover and see what that's like, or go around to different places and be like, yo man, this place kind of does more country, this place does more rock, or like I could see myself playing here, or like I would like to play over here. I see that person playing this place all the time. I'm gonna go say hello. Because if we see you, like I remember seeing Ethan multiple times. And eventually I was like, oh yeah, I've seen you around, man. Yeah, come sit in. And then like we had lunch and we've been cool since. But I just remember seeing, I was like, yeah, I've had a bunch of people ask me to sit in at least once, but only a couple. Like, there's Ethan again. Yeah, come on. Just but don't get your feelings hurt if someone says no and don't give up there.
And go now while it's slow season, because that is a prime. I had to sneak that in there. Like right now, while stuff is so dead, especially on a weeknight, someone will be begging to. Like I said, don't expect anything, but someone will likely be like, "Yes, please, let me go take a piss or smoke."
You have to think too. These drummers are on, like, some of them are on doubles and triples and quads, dude. Like they've been praying for a break all day. But that being said, like you do have to establish a rapport first, because like the amount of drummers that like I have let sit in that were terrible it's a pretty high number, to be honest with you. So it's like you kind of get jaded with it. You're like, oh man, should I let this guy sit in? I don't know him. I'm never. He actually kind of looks like a douchebag. Like I'm pretty sure I don't want him to sit in.
You're putting your job on the line at that point.
But yeah, exactly. And that's happened before. Where like I'll like look at the guys in the band, like, should we let this guy sit in? Like, okay, sure. And then like they can't even get through fucking Sweet Home Alabama. It's like. That literally happened to me a couple of weeks ago, and the dude it was embarrassingly bad. So establish the rapport first. I think the most important thing is like to make your face known, and then come back. And also like the best time I feel like to talk to a drummer who is playing downtown is in between changeover, and don't be annoying because they might be trying to get to another gig. Maybe ask them that even, and then you can talk. Be like, hey man, I really enjoyed your set. Like you're a killer drummer or whatever. Like, can you give me some tips on X, Y, and Z? Like, they're going to be more responsive to you that way than if you, like, come up to them in the middle of $100 request and you're, like, trying to get up on stage, Like, we're not going to respond well to that.
No.
So, but yeah, I think the main thing is just, like, making your face known and not in a Gurmy way.
Also, maybe like message them on Facebook or something. I've had people do that.
Some social proof.
Yeah, and I'll be like, okay, like this is a country gig. You can play Dixieland or whatever. Like have this prepared, come around like 4 or something. I feel like that kind of makes it a little better as well.
Sure, yeah.
Absolutely.
100%.
Before I lived here, I think Jared Ames did that same thing for me. Like I was just walking around, like, because I was visiting for a week, and then he Facebook DM me or Instagram or something like that. He's like, hey, come back and pick 2 of these songs and we'll let you sit in or whatever. So
nice.
Yeah.
And I would say, honestly, like you said, go slow season. This is the time.
Yeah.
This is absolutely the time. Yeah. And I would go even further, go to a stage, like maybe go to Rippy's sad room. Go to a stage where it's like these people they're here, they're surviving. Those people are way more likely to want to break and to not give a crap about that situation. And that can be your opportunity.
Yeah, maybe don't go try to sit down on Kid Rock's main on a 6 to 10 on a Saturday.
Do not do that.
Just have a hunch.
Nico may say no.
Yeah, dude.
So we've been talking about some different venues, and obviously, like, I'm curious how you guys have adapted to all the new bars and changes within Broadway itself.
I haven't.
Yeah, right.
How do you get the perfect Nashville kick drum tone? It starts with a Lowboy Leather Daddy bass drum beater. This leather-faced beater occupies the sonic space between felt and wood beaters. It's punchy enough to cut through the mix on those 4-on-the-floor barn burners with the warmth you need for slow ballads. Okay, but who plays a Leather Daddy? Garrett Goodwin from Carrie Underwood's band uses one. Lee Bryce drummer Donnie Marple plays a pair. Walk down Broadway any night of the week and you're going to hear one. In Nashville, you can test drive a Lowboy beater at Drumbox and grab one at Forks, Drum Supply, or Nelson's. Check out lowboybeaters.com to learn more.
Can you guys just kind of briefly go over like what it's even like down there, like between every floor having different shifts, different bands, like where to park, transportation, like just what's like a day in the life of you know, let's say you've gotten the gig and now what does that day look like?
You're good at these.
Yeah.
Your little day of the life. You should-
Oh, okay.
Give it up for Molly, y'all.
Whoa.
Thanks, Kyle.
So you wake up. Usually I'll pack me like a little lunchbox, not gonna lie, because
Cute.
I get pretty hungry and you don't know when you're gonna eat. I mean, usually it depends what shift you're playing. Usually changeover, let's say you're playing a 6 to 10. Changeover will be 5:45, 15 minutes before, but always check, always ask, because like I played at Mellow Mushroom the other day and changeover was at like 6:15. So you just never know like what time it is. So always ask, make sure. Be there maybe 10 minutes before changeover just so you can go to the bathroom so you're ready, whatever. Always ask where parking is. It'll probably be at like 333 Commerce, 210 or whatever, the one right across from it. All the bars usually have a parking garage that is dedicated where you will get a discount. So, and then parking will probably be like $10. So make sure you ask about parking, what time changeover is, and then make sure you have your little drum cart because you'll have to bring your snare drum, your throne, your pedal, your cymbals. Ask about in-ears. Usually, every bar uses in-ears now. But even for myself, I always bring like my P2, like the Behringer P2, you know, I always use in-ears. I always have something with me where even if they don't have in-ears, I can 1000% run in-ears. Bring your iPad, your phone charger, whatever you need, you know, if you're using charts, bring like a little stand for your charts. And then I guess you set up for your gig. Was that what I was supposed to answer?
Covered a lot.
Okay.
I was gonna say. I feel like we're just like talking about abstract stuff the whole time. And you're like, hey, bring your shit.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Bring your
What
stuff.
should I bring?
Yeah, you mentioned the P2. For those unfamiliar, you're talking about like if it's not in ears but it's a wedge, the ability to convert that signal to ears essentially.
Yeah.
I always have that in my backpack, always, because I'd say 70% of the time you might not have ears, or they'll have 2 packs if you're playing at like Tootsie's or something, you know.
Has anyone besides me been a big enough dumbass to not bring in-ears to an in-ears only gig?
Yes.
We call it
Yes.
Bub. You got to get burned. You're never going to make that mistake twice.
Yeah, that happened to me at the Valentine. Yeah, years ago.
I think that's the biggest change with like the venues is that there was that, for those of you like brand new to town, there was that period where electronic kits were starting to become a thing at some of the venues. And even though the electronic kits aren't necessarily there anymore, they do sound like volumeless stage or soundless stage, whatever, where all the guitars are on DI and all the basses, the vocals are. The only thing that's making actual sound on stage is your drums. So you have to have your in-ears. Some of them, they get a little weird where they say you need to bring your own mixer. They don't have like a station for you or a ear pack. So each one is just a little bit different. And I think that's the biggest thing is like, if you come just with like everything that Molly said, you're going to be fine no matter where you play. And then you can also check with your band leader before you play. Just like, hey, what do they expect of the drummer here? Do you know? And they'll tell you, they'll let you know what to fill in the gaps.
To add to what Molly said, if you plan on singing, bring your own microphone because that shit is disgusting down there. The house mics, the amount of house mics that I have literally smelled from like this far away. Dude, it's disgusting. So yeah, bring your own microphone if you plan on singing. And also just always check to like know what kind of gear the venue is going to have because everyone is different. Like there's some that have wedges and there's some that have packs and there's some that don't, and you just never know.
I mean, it's the same for an artist gig, or just be professional, have backups. I would say. I mean, maybe you're not bringing 2 snares. That might be overkill for Broadway. Maybe you are, but
no, you don't need to. You don't need to do that.
Yeah.
If you are if you happen to get to a point where you're playing consistently, I think the 2 biggest, get a cart. It's so worth it. I used to make fun of Nate. When Nate would I would see Nate carrying his stuff. I'm like, Nate, what are you doing? I'd kind of like poke out the window, see him going to a gig. Nate, what are you doing? Stop carrying that. Because you don't realize it. And when I first started playing, I'd be like, this is my workout. Walking to my gig, got my stuff. Okay, but you're not lifting in a correct way. And you got your cymbal bag here, you got your throne here, and you got and everything's out of whack. And the first time I got a massage, I was like, oh no, I'm fine. And they were like, you have so many knots in your back. And I'm like, from what? And then I went to a gig later that night and I picked up my stuff and I was like, oh, so I'm like, all huge tension. And then I finally get to the gig and then I had to play Tootsie's Roof and they don't have an elevator there. So I'm carrying up all my stuff on top of walking a block and a half. And then I'm upset. And then I have to set up my stuff and then we use our body and you're going to be there for 4 hours. And now, dude, just get a cart. It's like a $75 investment. Anywhere that you can get a cheap one or you get a nicer one. But that's it. And then the in-ears thing, if you can just get a little mixer at the very least, because again, if they have, hey man, you're on a wedge today. Oh, dang. So that's going to be a lot of noise on stage. And then the sound guy's going to be like, hey man, you're playing too loud. Well, I can't hear anything. Can you crank this up? And you're like, no, it's Mellow Mushroom. People are eating pizza here. They're on ears now, but when I used to play there, it was all monitors. And so I figured out, I was like, well, if I just take the monitor, lay it on its side, and take that same cable, plug it into here, now I can go into my ears, and I can have it's less volume, and I don't have to play as hard. Everyone's happy. And it sounds good. Like, a mix with earplugs and a wedge sucks. Yeah. If you get to a point where you're playing consistently, if you're like, oh, should I get a new snare drum? Should I get this nice ride cymbal? Get you some cymbals that sound good in any room, but get you some ears. Get you something that's molded to your ears. It doesn't have to be 8 drivers, 20 drivers. Get you something that's just molded in your ears. Because before I played with molds, I would do a double or a triple, and I'd have my Shure in-ears, which worked great, or my earplugs, which is the same material, and I would have that 8 hours just in my ears, and it sucked. I've done triples with my all clear in-ears, and I haven't taken them out. I will leave my in for 12 hours. They're so comfortable, and with it being perfectly sealed, my mix is like this, and it's awesome. And then when I play, I don't have to play really loud, and everyone's happy. So get you a cart if you're playing down there a lot. Get you a little mixer thing, and then save up some money and get you something molded for your ears. And you're going to be golden.
Sponsored plug for Jason Baker with Music City Audiology. I think you guys have some business cards there. But that was adorable.
Are you still using the hand truck as the cart? Is that still the move with the bungee cords?
I do.
Yeah. Oh, I have just a regular dolly now, the vertical. I've gone vertical. I don't the cart, it works, but I feel like I'm faster with dolly. But you got it. You have to have a bungee. Again, you got to get burned. But I was like, oh, I got my cart. And then I showed up and I was like, I didn't think about how am I going to stack this. So I'm in the garage looking like a doofus trying all these different ways, but nothing would stay. So I have a little bungee that's literally this long. And I got my cart, I got my system, put it there, strap it there. And then for me, the dolly works better. Some people like the cart. You're pretty stable. You can really run people over. It's nice. Yeah. The dolly, I like to be a little bit more agile.
You still run people over with a dolly.
You definitely can.
What do you mean? Everyone on Broadway is so friendly. All those tourists.
Yeah. They're paying such close attention to you.
The roads are so smooth there.
Do we have the same?
Nah, I have a big green one.
I used to have the hand truck, and now I have a big red dolly because I had the problem with the wheels. Like the wheels.
And I had to replace all mine. If you want to get real into it, like I got mine, and I got the never flat wheels because I went through 2 of them. So I was like, oh, it's great. So I spent like 70 on a cart, and I ended up spending like extra 40 each on tires. I was like, this is dumb. So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna get these never flat ones, and they're like cement. So if I hit like the smallest pebble, it's like, I'm like, oh, but I'm like, it works. So
Imagine pushing someone out of the way with that thing, though. Like, doesn't that feel good?
Nico's trying to get a cart endorsement here.
dude.
if I got a cart endorsement,
That's
that'd
next
be
level.
Huge.
Nico, you are definitely. I definitely credit you with being the person that was like, dude, what are you doing? Get a card. You're insane. And
You just don't know until you know.
You know what was
I just
the
wanted to
turning
get you
point
there.
for me was that that Red Bull race thing where they shut down the whole street. I parked on 5th and I carried all my gear down to 3rd. I'm like, I'm gonna go down here and I'm gonna cut across and I'm gonna avoid all the foot traffic and all the tourists in my way. And I got down there and they're like, hey, by the way, you can't cross the street here. That's totally illegal. I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna have to go. Yeah, you got to go back to 5th. I walked all the way back to 5th carrying 100% of my gear. Every tourist on the planet going as slow as possible. I would be like, yo, can I get by you? They would turn around and literally do.
Yep. Every time.
And then not move at all. That was when I decided that it was time to start shoulder checking tourists.
Sometimes you gotta do
A
it.
little bit more aggressively than I should have, but
You just gotta
also
be
time to
rude
get a cart.
eventually.
Also, a part of the job that you have to remember though is that like, all right, cool, I want to work on Broadway and do things. You're gonna be around people when they're at their worst.
Yes.
You're gonna be around people who might just turn 21. You're gonna be around people who could be your parents. And they came here to have a good time and they're drunk. And guess what? I've done some silly things when I've been drinking. So when I'm trying to get to my gig and, it's this person's, a couple drinks in, you have to be aware that some people might, not be as friendly. Or some people are just like, oh, you don't mean to be in the way. And they're like, oh, my bad. And I'm like, yeah, you're just drunk,
Totally.
So there is that aspect. You just have to remember like, all right, and it's crowded and everyone's kind of been partying, so that's just part of it. You get a lot of patience working down there, whether you want to or not. You will be tested, your patience.
Yeah.
So
you get the opportunity to learn how to be patient. It's the biggest thing. It's like you have to learn that you have to accept it, because you won't happen on your own. If you don't accept it, you'll just be grumpy the whole time.
Yeah.
you don't want to. It's very easy to become like that.
It's
and
drunk
you don't.
Disneyland down there, dude.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Invest in a good pair of AirPods. I think that's been my ticket. Is like, because I know I'm gonna get anxiety walking through a crowd on a Saturday, like with my shit, and there's gonna be some drunk dumbass who won't get out of the way. And I just like, do I pop in my AirPods, put on some music? I literally don't take them out. I don't take them out until I get on stage, and like that's helped me so much, and just like not freaking out on random tourists, like. And then you don't have to listen to whatever dumb shit that they have to say to you also. So,
You got a
it's
baby
win-win.
in that cart? Or it's like,
are you playing
everyone
drums?
thinks it's a baby. Like,
Hey, are you playing tonight?
Yeah, hey, are you playing tonight? As I'm walking with literal fucking drumsticks in my hand.
Dude, I'm so glad you said the baby thing like that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's always the baby. I'm just like,
I can't comprehend.
yeah, it
that,
is my
dude.
baby. And they're like, oh.
Yeah,
My
why do you have it
favorite-
in 5 parts? That's really weird.
My brother plays drums. Who's going? It's like, all right, cool. You know what? I know you mean well, but that's again part of it. You're gonna go down there when it is wild, and sometimes it's slow, and you kind of get around. Sometimes it is hectic, and Red Bull people are there, and there's like motorcycles in the air, and you're like, oh, I see my gig right there. It's right across the street. Well, nope, you got to go all the way across. So if you got your cart, you can be like, this sucks, but if you were Nate, it just so
Shit out of luck.
My favorite is the elevators, dude. Just being
you
stuck on
get-
an elevator with your cart, and there's like 30 drunk bachelorettes in there with you, and they're all trying to ask you the same fucking question about what songs you're gonna play. Yeah.
Y'all.
I think that's why
Do you guys know Pink Pony Club? Do you know Pink Pony? It's like, dude, I haven't even gotten on stage yet.
Yeah. I think that's why I like the hand truck too, because I've literally, when I was doing doubles and triples on the regular, I would sprint from, if I had a double that was like Kid Rock's roof all the way to Tootsie's roof, I would just have no choice but to sprint. But with the hand truck and the bungee cord system, I was just ready. And especially if it was a Saturday and they closed off the street, I was just ready to sprint. Yeah. I felt cool.
You ever had your gear fall off your cart?
Oh yeah.
all the time.
All
Everyone's
the
like,
time.
no! You're like, oh, you like, again, you hit just like the smallest little curb. And all your
Yeah.
stuff goes.
I had
Humble pie.
a drunk guy fall into my cart as I was trying to get in the elevator at Kid Rock's.
Yeah, it'll happen.
I was supposed to play main actually, and I was going up to the mezzanine, and dude just fucking ate it, and all my shit was like laying all over the floor. And meanwhile, it's like packed. There's like it's almost at capacity, so I'm just like scrambling to put all my shit back on the cart and like bungee it back up. Meanwhile, there's some drunk guy like, "Oh, you play drums?" Like,
Yeah. Also, don't bring like your $3,000 snare downtown.
Yeah.
I would not do that. I mean, don't bring your worst gear, but I definitely don't bring like any prized possessions downtown because you will get beer spilt on it.
oh, yeah, I
God
lost
knows,
an
you
itch
just
that
don't
way.
know. You don't know what's gonna happen.
Bring your Tama bell brass to Tootsie's Main. That's my advice. And crank it. Only rim shots.
On a serious note, make sure you clean your kick pedal regularly. That thing gets disgusting.
Oh,
the kick
yeah.
pedal, like, yeah, it's gross.
My poor disgusting pedal.
Yeah.
Needs love
Just
so
clean
bad.
that off every once in a while.
I just have a
yeah.
dedicated downtown pedal.
Oh, there you go.
Just fucking, it just looks disgusting all the time.
I guess like, I don't know, one little tip on the joke of like the bell brass and Tootsies. Because it's a small room if you don't know. If you're like trying to jump into Broadway and you're like, all right, you know, I don't know all the songs. I know a good chunk of them. The best thing you can do is play the room. If you can just be very, very aware of the room size and like maybe like have a snare drum, and you don't want to bring two snare drums, you don't need that, but like maybe have one that has like those little big fat snare, little head things you can, and I like if it's a louder room, I can play that. If it's a small room, I put that and it's more controlled. One of my first consistent gigs I got was from a guy named Chris, and he just said, hey man, I like how musical you play. I know you don't know all the songs, but like our regular drummer plays so loud and I just get a headache and I can't sing. And it was a small stage. I literally just got a call just because I was just appropriate for the room. If you just actually don't overthink of like, oh, it's all these songs or it's a 4-hour gig. At the end of the day, just be musical, you know, and that you'll surprisingly. And I know some people are like, oh, really? She's like, there's a lot of people that go into some places. They're like, got my gig and like it's about me or I got to play this really loud. I'm like, well, if you played all the songs perfectly, way too loud, you're not going to get called. So just another little tidbit if you're trying to work.
100%.
Be super coachable too. Just be ready. Like this has already been said, but really ask for feedback. It's such a big deal to do a thing and going into a situation. All of us have done the thing where like, hey, I'm really familiar with this kind of stuff. I mean, for me, I was like, the thing I communicated early and often was, hey, I really don't know the country stuff. So give me some grace here. And if you just just walk me through a couple things, I can follow really well, but I'm not super familiar with this. If you communicate that ahead of time, there's way more forgiveness than if you just take a run at it and kind of throw your hand. Well, I don't know. I guess I missed it. Sorry. I did that and what was the song? Oh, Should Have Been the Cowboy. And I had no idea how that groove went. And that groove is specific. And I just kind of played it straight through. And whoever I was playing with was like, just, learn that because it's really simple, but it's iconic. Be coachable.
I like that.
To reiterate on what Nico was saying, and also what you're saying, like, it's okay to have a thing. Like, if your thing is, like, you're really good at playing in rooms, if your thing is, like, you know a ton of rock songs, but you don't know any country, if your thing is, like, you can sing a bunch of songs, but you don't know every single song in the world, like, that's cool. There's enough gigs downtown now, especially now, where, like, if you have a niche, like, go work in that niche. because there are guys that just do country songs and there are guys that just do rock songs. And there are guys that really need like a singing drummer. I get calls all the time just because I sing. And that's it. I've literally only gotten calls for that reason on a few gigs. And they told me that. So it's just like, figure out what it is that you can bring to the table that makes, that makes you you, and you will get hired for that as well. Like Nathan's an amazing drummer with great ears. So like, he can use that to get gigs even if he doesn't know every single song. And it's like, you figure out what it is that like you can bring to the table, and then you move forward with that. So.
Yeah, that's great. Why don't we jump into, because as we kind of started at the top, like you all have other parts of your career. It's not just Broadway. Like maybe Broadway's paying the bills. I think everyone here kind of has been selected for that reason as well. You guys are on some kick-ass gigs and doing personal projects, recording, which is super admirable and awesome, honestly. It's been cool to see you guys and how your careers have grown since we've met in Nashville. But as it relates to Broadway, let's just kind of discuss how maybe Broadway has been a launching pad to other parts of the gig, how you've avoided burnout also, because it can be easy to kind of get stuck down there, right? Whoever wants to jump in on that.
I can talk about that. So I would say the first year that I moved down here, I pretty much only did the Broadway thing. I did 400 gigs or whatever, something insane. And yeah, that made me depressed. Let's just say that. But I mean, Broadway is great, but definitely for myself, that just wasn't what I wanted to do full time, and just being down there, the partying, just, the cover stuff, in that time period is just, I wanted to get out of it. But now where I'm at, I do a lot of the road stuff and then the Broadway stuff mixed into it. So for me, I've found that it's made Broadway so much more enjoyable, for myself, playing down there just a couple times a week and then doing my road stuff. It's made it I love doing the requests. That's kind of the thing that I like the most. But yeah, I know everybody's different though, so, but it's kind of a launching pad just to meet people, also become a better musician. Cause I know sometimes people will people will talk crap about people that play on Broadway. And I'm like, excuse me, do you know 5,000 songs? I don't think so.
Yeah.
I get, yeah, exactly. People that play on Broadway, very admirable. Some of the best musicians you will ever meet.
Human jukebox.
Yeah,
right?
human jukebox. Seriously. I don't know if you guys want to add on to that.
No, I think that's very well said. It's just, I think you do have to make kind of a conscious decision to step away at times, and it can be hard, especially if you start getting the ball rolling and you're like, wow, I'm making money and I'm playing all the time. But when you start feeling that burnout, it could still be hard to say no. And I think you do sometimes have to make a conscious effort to be like, okay, I need to only do X amount, or you may get a call for something and it's just I want to say yes, but it's just you start realizing, okay, time might be a little bit more valuable than money in some senses. And, obviously everyone's different, but like you said, there's people there that just want to be there full time and they just want to pay their bills, support their families. And then there are people who may just do this when they're not on the road and everything in between. So it's just being aware of that is something I don't think it's really talked about, but I think it should be more for sure. Just
figure out, I guess, how much you want to be down there. And once you start getting down there and playing gigs, I think you'll kind of figure it out for yourself. Yeah.
If you're going down,
excuse us.
Yeah.
Quit saving people. Get out.
They listened.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're if you're coming to town and you're going to the Broadway thing with the sole purpose of if money is your first, kind of prime interest with that, you're going to have a bad time. And I think that goes with music, period. If that's your number one goal, go do something else. That's not the point.
Yeah, we've heard of the gig triangle, right? The three things to say yes to a gig: the people, the pay, and the music. Right.
There have been plenty of gigs I think all of us have taken where the money has not been very good or non-existent, but we met some new musicians who are now lifelong friends. The music we were playing was really cool. The best moments on Broadway don't come from gigs where we made a bunch of money. They come from when somebody requests a song, we all kind of turn around to each other and we're like, do we know that song? Do we really know? And everyone just kind of nods their head yes. And it's like, we can play that. And then you play it and it goes super, super well. And you go on your radio brain, like maybe you haven't played it in a long time, you haven't heard in a long time, but it just comes out of you because it was there, because you've grown up not wanting to do anything else but be a musician with the rest of your life. And that's what you do it for. And for Broadway, it's like, it's an opportunity to make those kinds of connections with people. The money's going to come and go. Like, you know, everyone's probably telling you how like Broadway's not the same like it was 3-4 years ago, man. Like 3-4 years ago it was great. But it's like, if you're smart, you budget, you make sure you're not living above your means when the times are good, you're saving your money. That allows you to enjoy the gigs for what they're really meant to be for, which is to meet new people, make connections, and to get those magical moments that'll connect you with your bandmates for the rest of your life. Like that's the most, and then when you do that for yourself, you'll do that for your audience, and your audience will appreciate that and they'll stick around, and then that makes everybody happy. But it's got to be for something else besides the money. The money will come and go. Don't worry about that.
So well said. Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to clap
That was gorgeous. I love that. That was beautiful.
I think we all come to that realization. I think we all come to that. Like I had to go through that realization myself not long ago, like about a year or two ago. I had to just revamp the way I was thinking, and I'm like way happier, like clear-headed, not going through those same kind of feelings. You know, it's like that once I got out of that, and my finances are just fine. They're okay. You know what I mean? They're good. It's going to be okay. You know.
I think, just balance is super important, because if you are good and you learn the material and you spend enough time down there, you will get to a point where you're working anywhere from 6 shifts to 15 shifts a week. And like how much of that you're able to manage is up to you. But I can tell you from firsthand experience, like you will get burned out if you do that every single week for 10 years straight. Like it's just going to happen. And I know that because I see people down there who are like that, who are miserable, and you walk up to them on the gig and they're just like, they look like they want to kill themselves. And it's like, oh man, like, I don't know if I even want to be around this guy today, you know? And you don't want to be that guy either. So you have to figure out what it is that you can do to offset that. And also what your goals with Broadway is. Like for me, a big thing that changed my perspective on it was just trying to use it more as a learning tool to make myself better. So instead of like looking at it in terms of like, okay, how much money did I make on Broadway this week? I started clocking in like, okay, well, how many hours did I spend singing this week? How many hours did I spend learning new material this week? How many hours did I sit behind a kit this week? I'm like, oh, okay, like I'm actually getting better by doing this thing and also making money. And like he said, like making new friends and the connections and all that too. But I think just like constantly thinking about like how it is that you're approaching the gig is really important, because that's where the longevity is going to come from. Because ultimately, like, even if you get a big touring gig, you're probably always going to play Broadway to an extent. Like there are some guys that have A-list artist gigs who still play Broadway. Like it's just, it is what it is, you know, and they just pick and choose what they want to do, which is great. But like, in order to have that longevity, like I said, you just got to have other things that balance it out. Like, oh, am I spending time on the road this year? Like, am I taking a break from Broadway? Like that helps me a lot when I go out on tour. Like, and dude, it's like clockwork. Every time I'm starting to get burnt out with Broadway, I get to go on tour. And then like I come back and I feel fresh again, you know? So it's just finding like what it is are those things. Like if you're a writer, like going and doing writers round, if you want to produce, like going and working on that stuff, you want to do sessions, like making sure that you take the time outside of Broadway to invest in your session work. You know, it's like whatever it is, just make sure that you have balance. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
1000%. Yeah.
What skills specifically from Broadway do you think you've taken most to those touring gigs? We talked a lot about like working with professionals. I'm sure like working with front of house on Broadway versus front of house at these different road gigs, and you know, so what has sort of translated best, do you think? Or maybe also things that you totally don't like, would never do on a touring gig versus Tin Roof.
I think in the country world, I've noticed like a lot of times, correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like a lot of country artists, even if they're on their own shows doing their own original music, they'll definitely throw in a couple covers here and there. And I've been on gigs with guys who don't even want to touch Broadway, but they're like afraid to try one of those covers, even if it's something like Should Have Been a Cowboy or whatever. And you were like, I got no problem. Yeah, I could do that on the fly.
Yeah.
And like I used to play with a guy named Trey Lewis, and for like he started throwing a lot more. Oh, shut up. He started throwing like kind of after like a year of being with him, he started throwing in like random covers and stuff, but it never, you know, it never really fazed me. I mean, not that it fazed anyone else in the band, but I have seen that a lot, and I just think Broadway itself can. We talked about this before. Like it sharpens your intuition and your just ability to adapt. And I don't know, it's in the most, I think, appropriate way of, okay, what do you want to do? I want to play drums for a living. I want to play on the big gigs. There are ways to sharpen your intuition and make yourself a better musician, but Broadway is such a very focused, there's not a lot of stuff like it that allows you to challenge all these different parts you're playing. So I think stuff like that. And I had one other one, but it'll come back to me later.
Yeah.
I feel like sorry.
Oh no, don't apologize to me ever. Go ahead.
I was just saying, I think it's cool because Broadway is also a place where like you can stretch out a little bit if you want to on certain gigs, and like you can't necessarily do that on a big touring gig. Like you're playing things by the book, you know, like you're playing a 2 to 6 on Lucky Bastard's second floor on a Monday, like in the middle of wintertime. Yeah, dude, try some shit. Like,
I'm gonna try some chops or some fills. Or,
don't walk into a gig with the way I was saying of like, all right, man, you got these songs to learn. Just kind of get the macro of it. You know, get a chart that kind of like. If I'm making a chart for an artist that I'm playing with, I'll probably get a little bit more detailed of like maybe like you never know. They're like, man, I really like that kick groove in the chorus, and I'm like, oh, dang, I was off by an eighth note. I didn't really realize it, but they felt it. So, like, maybe I'd be more detailed for that because, again, we're only going to play 30, 45 minutes. Mm-hmm. And another thing, like, we got chops. In the sense of, like, we go to play a show and we're like, we're done. We're like, that was it. You know, like, we're used to playing 4, 8, sometimes 12 hours. You can do a triple. Like, a couple of us have done quads. That's 16 hours.
Crazy.
So when
Didn't you do like 2 quads?
I
in
did
a row?
2 quads in a row. Crazy. And then on one of them, I met my girlfriend right there. Shit. Incredible.
2 quads.
I'm telling you, Broadway is life changing. It's great.
Yeah, seriously.
You too can meet your girlfriend and do 2 quads.
So there's different, again, like, you know, get your approaches of, but again, if you like Kyle and Ethan said, if you look at it like, okay, like what are your goals with like, all right, I got to play drums for a good amount today. I got to, you know, sing a good amount this week. You know, you work on that. And then when you go to play something, maybe you're like, all right, man, we're playing. If you're on a bigger gig, maybe you get to play an hour, and that's going to go by like that. So it's kind of like going to the gym. If you show up and you're like, all right, well, I'm going to play some, I don't want to play Sweet Home Alabama. Well, who cares, dude? Like every job has parts that suck. There's no job that like everyone's like, I love every bit of my job. So if you're like, all right, if this is the part that sucks, okay, I want to like work on my posture. I want it to like, I want my legs to not hurt when I'm done playing today. You know, if you kind of put some goals like that and you're getting like a little bit of coin, like that's a win-win in my situation.
Yeah,
that's how if you think about it like that.
It's a safe space to fail too.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to try out some new stick tricks. You know,
Yeah,
probably best to do it there, not on the
do it like exactly.
Show,
So you can, if you approach it with that attitude, I think it can allow you to be a little bit more successful.
I remember Alan Gamble who's another guy who plays down there 24/7. He I remember broke his toe at one point, and he's an open-handed player, but I remember talking to him. I was like, hey, have you been out of work? And I think he took some time off, but I know he used the opportunity to like set his kit up full lefty and then practice leading kick with his left hand and then crossing, because he would play open-handed on a righty kit usually. And then he was like, now while my toe's been healing, I've basically made myself entirely ambidextrous. And I was just like, that is an attitude. Yeah, that is the correct attitude to
I have 100% used Broadway as a way to teach myself to play lefty, and
you bring the X hat, right?
I did now, but then I lost the stand. I got to buy another stand.
Oh shit.
But I got and kept a gig because it was a slow night, and I was like, would you guys be mad if I set this kid up full lefty and just try? There's going to be like 10 people here, so do you care? And they're like, no. I'm like, okay. Y'all are cool. And I still play with them. Shout out Free Dogs. I love y'all. Anyway.
Something I was thinking about too, as we're talking about doing other gigs, there's obviously chances when you're not able to make every single shift. So in terms of when to sub out a gig, how to sub out a gig, Kyle, I think you were supposed to be working tonight, right? Did you sub out tonight?
I was supposed to work 6 to 10 tonight.
Appreciate it.
Okay, thanks for making this was really hard to schedule. Dan did a great thing. It was one of those things someone's
fact
going
that
to
we're all
have
in this room
to
is crazy.
sub out a gig at Lookout. So Kyle, thanks for...
You know what? Everybody give it up for me, all right?
Yep. Kyle subbed out one of his 52 gigs for the week.
Yeah, because obviously subbing out a gig versus, like we were talking earlier, like trusting the newbie to sit in, that's a different ball game. So what do you look for in a sub? And then also, how do you approach when maybe you're asked to sub on a buddy's gig?
I think first thing I would do is talk to the band because I'm not going to be there. So I'm like, hey,
you can't
bass.
make it, you mean?
Yeah, if I can't make it, I'm like, okay, bass player, who do you want to play on? That's probably who I'm going to ask is either the bass player or the singer, because I don't want to just get somebody that I like. And then the bass player's like, bro, that drummer that was there, like, I didn't like the way he played or whatever. So that's usually what I do first is I'd be like, hey, singer, I'm not going to be there. Like, who do you want me to try and get? And then second to that, if I'm looking for somebody, I mean, I'll probably try and get somebody that kind of, plays the way that I do. Like, maybe, just that's probably how you're going to do it. How are they going to approach the song? Do they know the music? Is this going to be a good gig fit for them for whatever it is? Like, do they overplay? Do they play super loud? Are they hard to direct? Those are probably the things I would say.
Yeah, you want it to be seamless. Like you want the artist, you want the band to not even realize that you're not there. More
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
No, I agree. It's like, we mentioned Luke Zygel earlier, and he's been one of my go-to sub calls for so long because I think we have a similar style, but also I know no one is like, if you don't like Luke, you're the problem kind of thing. Like Luke is just such a sweetheart, and he can get along with so many different personalities, and he's obviously a professional. Like he takes it very seriously. So like you said, it's like you want to be like ready to find the sub if they want you to, but obviously, like you said, you want to make sure, hey, okay, like what do you want? What's going to make you guys the most comfortable?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather them not have a good time with someone they found than not have a good time than someone I suggested. So
Yes.
just as long as y'all are happy, and if you think about, and if you're also like a drummer trying to get more work, try to make some acquaintances, some friends that aren't drummers. Because again, if we're going through that, hey band, I'm not going to be here. And then, cause a lot of people ask like, hey man, I know you're going to be gone. If you need someone, I'd love to do it. And I'm like, man, the people who sub for the band I'm with, it's always who's the singer or like the bass player. They're picking the person.
Yeah.
So, if you meet a bass player that you really enjoy playing, like that person's gonna call you a lot more than probably a drummer. So just another thing to think about when you're going out and trying to meet people. Don't just, when you go up to the band, say hello to everyone in the band, not just the drummer.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And you'll be more personable and more like people dig that. You got to be there for 4 hours. No one wants to be around someone that's not fun to be around.
That's true. So, yeah, the whole thing about being a good hang, right? That we always say.
Yeah. Prepare your subs too. Make sure you give them as much info as you can.
Yeah.
That can eliminate some of those problems, right? Like it can help make it easier to make sure that your rest of your band has a good time if you're the one picking the sub. And obviously you give them as many songs as you can. Like, and I think we've taught, maybe this is on the topic list or something, but the whole like Broadway standard thing in terms of tunes and songs is always changing, always evolving. There are some that everyone will agree on, but everybody knows that like in this world, you can't get anybody to agree on anything, right? So prepare them as much as you can for songs that are going to be played by your band, right? And just like give them that list, make sure you're keeping track of stuff as you go through your gig. And then like maybe toss in a couple of like, hey, if you come prepared for that song, the band is going to love you. Yeah. And they will want you to come back. Like throw in an oddball one that that you'll play occasionally. Because every band downtown plays like they have a set of like non-Broadway standards they're going to play just to keep it fresh. They keep those songs in there in case someone requests some oddball stuff so they can, get many of the requests in. So if you prepare them for that and you say like, hey, here's kind of what we're going to play all night, but if you prepare for that, they're going to want to call you back. And then you're not just setting your band up to have a good time. You're then setting your sub up for more work, because then that word will get out from there. Like it's kind of a, just a rising tide and raises all boats kind of thing. But make sure you're keeping track on your own of what you're playing regularly. So
that's great.
Big time.
Also, make sure you get somebody who's reliable. Like, there are people that I straight up just don't call anymore who are fantastic drummers, but like they will bail out of the gig the day of. Like, and I feel like that's something that doesn't get talked about enough. Like, I'll take the guy who's going to show up who might not be like the best drummer, but like if I lock him in for a date, I know he's going to be there. I'd much rather have that guy than the unpredictable guy who might be really good, but then he flakes on the gig last minute. Because then it's on my reputation at that point, But I do agree with Molly, like always check with the band leader first because they're the ones that are doing the hiring most of the time. The band leader, whoever's like getting the checks at the end of the night, or the bass player, whoever is in charge of that. And then just try to like reach out to those subs yourself first. Like that's something I always do. Like if I know I'm going to be out, I'm like, okay, well, I know so-and-so is going to like this guy. So I'm going to go ahead and reach out to him first for these dates so they don't have to, because then you're taking work away from them that they don't have to do, and they're going to be appreciative of that. Like if you are going to sub out and you're not going to be there, like try to take care of as much work as you can. Try to eliminate any effort that the other person is going to have to do on your behalf. Like, so make sure your ass is covered, basically, which means not calling guys who are going to flake out the day of. In fact, me and Nico know a guy who we used to live with that would do that all the time. Nico.
Say his
Yeah,
name.
don't do no.
Dachshund.
Next question.
Hey, drummers, are you worried about losing your hearing? Did you know noise exposure can cause permanent hearing loss? Dr. Jason Baker with Music City Audiology provides mobile concierge services to musicians in Nashville and surrounding areas. That's right, he is 100% mobile and will come to you. If you need ear impressions, custom in-ear products, ear cleaning, hearing tests, or information about protecting your ears, he's your guy. Music City Audiology cares about drummers and wants to help you maintain your most valuable tools, your ears. Visit musiccityaudiology.com to book your consult today. That's musiccityaudiology.com.
Should we jump into social media? And like, okay, so you've gotten the gig, you're on the gig, you're subbing out. Let's talk about content. Like, I think everyone here records their gigs in different capacities, maybe not every single shift. Especially looking at Ethan and Molly here with, really creating a brand behind personalities and not just necessarily recording the show, but actually making purposeful content. So yeah, maybe just talk about like best practices, maybe some of the tools you're using, different cameras. Are you able to record the in-ear mix versus the
I'm going to say real quickly that I think Molly has more practical information while I toil in obscurity, but that's just me. So you listen to her, not me. I'm here as an example of what not to do. So.
No, exactly. How to get fired.
I would say for me, I kind of started out doing more like drum covers, stuff like that. And then once I started playing just more gigs and getting more busy, I kind of realized like, oh, I don't really have as much time to be at home making covers, practicing, doing stuff like that. So while I'm sitting here for 4 hours, I should at least get something out of it, So that's kind of how I started approaching that. I started going live. That was kind of, I know that's like popular now, like a lot of people are going live. I would say just use the time that you are sitting there for 4 hours, use it productive. I mean, that's kind of part of it. I'm like, okay, well, let me be at least productive while I'm sitting here for 4 hours, get some content out of it. And you never know, especially that's the great thing about Broadway is you never know what's going to happen. Just, I mean, I don't even know, like there's just so many examples of like, you're playing drums and somebody in the back, punches somebody in the face and then the whole band's like, and that, I mean, million views right there,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Like,
you never know.
Situations.
Yeah, it's just
like the comments like, there's no way this shit actually happens. You're like, no,
yeah,
I just had the camera up. Like this happens every day.
Yeah, I get a GoPro. I mean, I mean, the cameras now, I mean, your iPhone camera, like I have like my phone and then I have like, you know, an old iPhone 8 that I use as like my social media camera. So just get yourself something like that and just record. And I promise you you can get something out of it.
Big time. I mean, that's like what we talked about in our episodes. It's just like recording every single gig you can, even if it is just a phone or whatever. Like you can get something out of that, and you never know what's gonna happen. It's Broadway. It's an adult playground, so like shit's gonna happen. And also, I mean, like even if you never post it, I think there's something for like, you know, just posterity and checking like, oh, I've been rushing that part, or oh, I play that a little weird, and it's a tool.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's no harm in just start doing it. The red light syndrome took me forever to get over, but. And it's still like, if I know I'm on camera, I'll still get a little shy. And but yeah, that's it really.
Yes, you seem very shy on camera.
Did you know that you're on camera right now? Did you know that?
Well, you shouldn't have told me.
Okay, cool.
Well, a quick aside with Ethan, because if you're not familiar with Ethan's How to Get Fired from a Gig series, and you know, like you're not just playing down on Broadway. I mean, you've developed. I mean, you're in like an original band, original project down there. How does one kind of go from like filling in, doing shifts, playing the Broadway standards to, you know, you're in your own project and you have that comfort? Like, talk us through briefly that trajectory and like when that switch. Like, because obviously, like what you're doing down there, you know, goofing off, like that's not appropriate for every situation.
Of course, yeah. Don't do what I do. No, I mean, like, I think that kind of goes back to what we were talking about of just like knowing which people you're going to vibe with. I mean, with Skylines, I knew each of those members individually for years. And the drummer before me also did the same things with the sample pad of just mess. I mean, Will was the one who loaded the first.
That's his fault.
Yeah, and Will opened the floodgates. So I'm going to say that. Like, he was the one who loaded all the Lil Jon samples and the Mario samples and stuff like that. I just added more to it. But, you know, I think I've brought the SPD on a gig with Too Hot one time. I think I filled in for you before you were like with a guitar in the front.
Sure, yeah, maybe.
But, you know, it was, I mean, for that, I also knew him. Like, I really just brought it for like sub drops and stuff like that. Like, nothing super obscure, but
if you would have done that, I wouldn't have been mad at you, you know.
But also, I'm just like, you know, you never, like, I'm not going to bring the SPD on other gigs besides that. That's just always how that gig has been. So it's kind of just, it naturally flowed into what we do now and how we incorporate originals and whatnot. But I don't know if that answers the question or not. But
I want to backtrack just a hair to the silliness of Broadway, because I want to hear each of your, just a single kind of a favorite, well, that was really dumb and hilarious moment of watching something happen in front of you.
If you have one, go ahead.
Probably too inappropriate to
Yeah.
say out loud.
Things that are like coming around. I'm like, it's really hard to get out of that zone. I was like,
I guess
I don't want to scare people.
PG-13 and under, I guess. Yeah.
Oh man, that's still hard, dude.
all right.
That's still really difficult. Okay, I'm gonna try. I apologize if I don't. So, apology in advance. So we were playing at Whiskey River when it first opened, and it was, you know, just like in any bar when it's like brand new and it's just kind of chaotic, you know, everyone, it just really lets loose. And we were in the middle of Sweet Child of Mine, and this guy came up to the front of the stage, and this is the part I'm going to try and censor. He came up to the front of the stage and he just started peeing himself up at the front of the stage. And the stage is like, the stage there, if you haven't been to Whiskey River, is about 3 feet off the ground or so. It's elevated.
Yeah.
Right. It's an elevated stage. And so like I couldn't see it from the kit, but my guitar player and the singer could. I don't even think I think the guitar player is the only one who saw it. And of course he's playing Sweet Child of Mine. He can't stop playing. This dude is just, you know, out of his gourd, just drunk. And he's just kind of like, and just like violently peeing himself. I don't know how else to say it, but it was
one violently pee?
like it was going everywhere, dude. It was, it's the part I have to censor, unfortunately. The explanation of what that means, I have to censor it. Anyways, so my favorite part of it though was finally we mercifully get to the end of the solo, and he's like Ryan's like at the stage, just like waving somebody over, and I'm like, what's going on? And Ryan just gets on the mic. He's like, you just peed yourself, dude. And he just points at that guy staring at him like, and the bouncer just like grabs him and just wheels him out of the rim. And but it was just like all over the front of the stage. It was nasty. That's the kind, like if you go into Broadway with a I'm gonna take everything really seriously mentality, and you're not willing to just like break from that occasionally, you'll go crazy, because stuff like that's just gonna happen. You got to be okay with it, and laugh at it. So.
I wasn't there, but I think the one that takes the cake was the guy at Kid Rock's who did his colostomy bag and just whipped it around.
Oh, I've heard that.
Was it where
I
any
think
of
he
us
did it twice too, which is crazy.
Was any of us there for that by any chance?
Was it? Please tell me.
No. Okay.
Yes. I just saw the
I
video.
saw the video, yeah.
Well, I'll see you later.
He did it twice too.
Yeah,
Like,
then
how do you not? What happened? Like,
He had like a pistol with him as well, and it like fell out, right?
I did not hear that part.
I'm pretty sure he
Gnarly.
also had a like pistol with him, and it fell out of his pocket.
Wow.
So again, you're around people when they're on their worst. Sometimes, but sometimes you meet some really cool people.
Yeah.
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 So like again, not everyone's like awful. It's not just like total debauchery down there. I mean, it's a lot, but there are some good moments. Again, so again, if you can just be malleable and just don't take anything personal, keep on going. I don't have any fun stories.
With that, what's your favorite thing about Broadway, each of you?
I get to play drums. I mean,
Get paid to play
For a
drums.
living.
I mean, the thing that gets me going, where I'm just like, all right, maybe the day sucked, but honestly, I don't have any other skills that I can make that amount of money in 4 hours. So I'm like, okay, that before I was playing on Broadway, I was like working in a warehouse, moving boxes around. And so for me, I was like, okay, I'll go play Wagon Wheel. Golly, I don't want to play that song. But like, if that's where my job sucks, wow, that's
If that's
awesome.
the worst it is. Yeah.
You know,
That's
and
really
I
good.
get to meet other people and do the bigger parts of music, like you talked about.
Yeah.
I mean, as simple as that is, that's my favorite part of Broadway. So I'm just playing drums.
Yeah. I think same thing. Yeah. You just realize, this is better than anything else I could be making this much money doing. And then on top of that, I'm very grateful for the fact that like the majority of my shifts, I never have to play like Wagon Wheel or Sweet Home Alabama, because I get to just do the emo pop punk stuff. So that's just a bonus at that point.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Which Broadway can be a place, again, where if you put in the time and you can establish a relationship and make friends and bandmates where maybe you do get your own shift, and then you don't have to do that. You can make more decisions. Broadway's a place where you can really take it as far as you want. It allows me to do artist gigs. Like if I just did quote unquote the cooler things or whatever, like the stuff that's like people think about when you move here, I would not be a full-time musician. So Broadway helps. That allowed me to get into a point where it's like, all right, I can kind of pick and choose a little bit more. Mm-hmm. And again, it's not just what you think it is, so go down there and kind of see, and you'll see all sorts of people playing together, who've never played together, or you have people who have curated their own, they have original music, so there's so much variety down there.
You get to make a living playing the drums. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, that's a no-brainer. I mean, where else can you do that? Like, even most artist gigs, unless you have like an A-list artist gig, like you're not making enough where you can comfortably live. Like, you can play Broadway 7 days a week and comfortably live. Like, I don't know anywhere else in the country where you can do that and play an instrument.
Yeah.
Very few and far in between, unless you got a cruise ship gig or something. But I don't know. I like all of it. And then the debauchery is hilarious also. Like that's a huge part of it. Like you never know what you're gonna see. I'll spare the details, but I had a scratch and sniff occurrence one night at Tootsie's where a gentleman reached in his wife's.
I thought you were going to spare the details. Proceeds to tell the entire
The grosser details I'm going to spare you, but he essentially reached in his wife's pants and sniffed his fingers afterwards and proceeded to touch
Nico's face.
his son's face. It was weird. It's one of the grossest things I've ever seen in my entire
What song
life.
were y'all playing? Oh, you don't remember? I just wonder if you're like, what
I
song
have
brings that out of people?
I have a video of it on my phone. I'll show you later.
And that's
There
why
you go.
that's why you record anything. Ladies and gentlemen, you never know what's gonna happen.
I took it down because like I don't want this to go viral because it was starting to get traction. And so I was like, I don't want to be the guy who gets known for this going viral. Like
The scratch and sniff drummer.
Yeah, dude.
Yikes. Yikes.
We had something like that one night, and we were just about to play "There's Your Trouble," and we changed the word "trouble." Anyway, I won't spare you what we changed it to, but it was accurate. Anyway,
Well, the thing about, Ethan and I have talked about this a lot with the original music thing. Like if you're in a Broadway band and you start doing original music, the cool thing about entering into the original music world as that band is you have already played 1,000 gigs together. You've already done that, right? A lot of bands, when they're starting off in the original world, or artists or whatever, with their bands, they have to build up to that. It takes time. It takes the grind, which you do it, but you do it at different times. With the playing Broadway thing, if you're all taking it seriously, you're all paying attention, you're doing the grind and you're playing all those gigs together. It may not be your music all the time, because with Broadway, you can't really necessarily do that all the time with just bar policies and management and whatnot. But you are playing as a unit and you're learning each other's tendencies and you're learning how to play as a band. So it's literally paid practice. And that allows you then to enter into the original music world that much more ahead of the game musically. And then all you got to worry about is how to advertise yourself. And that's something that I'm learning still. We're all at different places with that. Some people have mastered it. Some people are working on it still. But you do it. So, yeah. And it's like you learn from the people who've mastered it. You take encouragement and you take inspiration from it. But yeah, you're already ahead of the game if you're doing that. If you're already doing the paid practice thing, it's
And more often than not, I think there are, I don't know if you've experienced this, but plenty of tourists every now and then will be like, do you guys have originals?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
which is really cool when people, but it's funny whenever they
do.
come to my gigs that aren't with Skylines, and it's like, we don't even have a band name.
we're just
here.
here.
Just met. Yeah, we just met.
But we could write something right now if you want us to.
Yeah. And you do get regulars that come in for Broadway gigs too, who will go to see your band, and that's cool because that's about as close of a fan as you're going to get playing on Broadway. Like somebody who genuinely follows you for your music and your content that you're putting out.
We had this couple, I'll try to keep it short. We had a couple from North Carolina who saw us for the first time at Lucky Bastard in 2022, and they just kept coming back and kept coming back. It was just their favorite place to be, mainly because we were able to play a little bit more of a rock-centric thing. They're just more rock fans. And we ended up playing our first festival in Charlotte back last year, and there was this competition or a raffle that they entered for the festival, and they ended up winning free passes to come see us play our first festival. And they had been seeing us for 3 years on Broadway, and we're like, but you got to see us do our first ever festival gig.
That's cool.
And we didn't play one cover song, what I mean? It was all of our original music and so you build up relationships. They're fans, but they're more than that. You know what I mean? They saw us from square one. So there's all sorts of magic that's there and it's just a matter of staving off that burnout and realizing that we're all really lucky to do this.
I have to ask really quickly, were they the same people that flew out? Because you guys just did a tour recently, and were they the same people that flew out to one of the shows that got canceled and you were like, hey, can we refund you, give you a shirt or something like that?
No, they actually came to the one in Charlotte that was the best one of the tour.
Nice.
They got to see the best one too. So that was cool.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that was, it was cool.
Yeah, that's great.
Meant a lot.
Well, before we get into some Q&A, give people a quick reference for financially speaking. What can you expect to make, let's say in a day, maybe just one shift or a double? Talk about what base pay means as well, and then tips and
$20 in French fries.
that
if
much?
you're lucky. Yeah.
Where are you playing, dude? Get me on that gig.
Tootsie's during the pandemic.
Hell yeah, dude.
Hell
French
yeah,
fries,
dude.
COVID free. Yeah.
What was the
Don't
question?
speak
I
at
already
once.
forgot.
How much money are y'all making?
I don't know if they want to answer.
Yeah. Well, I know. I mean, Nate's making some good money.
I'm
not to
doing
dissolve
okay.
finances. That's personal. But on the gig, what's the reality like? What's that look like?
I think it's just, that's a hard one to answer because every place is different. Every shift is different. You just got to figure out what the base pay, and even at one venue,
bands will have different bass pays. That's just how it is. That's the thing. So you can't exactly expect anything. You're going to have to do research on the venue itself and on the band, whatever band you're playing with, because everyone has their own rate, like I said.
And I will say there are certain clubs that you will make better money with in the wintertime as opposed to the summer, and then vice versa. Like, that's an interesting thing, because they're like some of the legacy bars down there that always have people coming in and out. And if you get at them during the summertime when the tips are hot, like, you're going to make a killing. But come wintertime, you might be lucky to walk away with $200, like, as opposed to some of the clubs that might have higher base pay but less traffic. And like, you're going to make less on those, but you're going to have a higher base pay. So you keep those gigs for the wintertime because you know that's a guaranteed thing, as opposed to like the ones that have less base pay but higher tips.
Exactly. I mean, like you said, if you're good with budgeting or whatever, and like, oh, maybe a one that I know what the base pay is going to be, and even if tips are almost non-existent, at least I can map that out.
Exactly.
And have some predictability.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's also some places that you can't push the tip bucket. So there's some places where base pay is going to be higher, but also you're going to get a list of 50 songs and you're going to play down that list of 50 songs. So that's also, hopefully the band leader will tell you that. But then if you're playing at a place like Tootsie's where the base play is lower, you might play requests all night long. You know what I mean? So I don't want to say it completely evens out, but it kind of does even out. But I would say typically higher base pay, not going to play as many requests. Lower base play, you're going to play requests.
I think it's like important to remember that, like, we're musicians and we're playing music, and that's a very esoteric thing. It's a very like emotional thing. But we the people you're working with on Broadway are business owners. They are in the business of making money. And it's like, if they're going to pay you a really high base pay, they want to know the product they're getting every single time they put that stage out there. And so they're going to be really weird about, like, what do you mean you're taking requests all night? And it's like, why aren't you playing this 50 country songs every single night, and it's the exact same product every single day? And some of those bars that are like lower base pay, I'm not saying they understand it necessarily, but there is that the old school mentality of, it's like, keep as many people in here as you can, do whatever you got to do, and you better be able to do what you got to do or we're going to be mad at you. So it's both sides of the same coin, where they're just trying to make money and they're both going about it like different ways. So it's a give and take thing for sure. But it's nice having the base pay sometimes. It's nice having some of those gigs where you just know you're going to get the base pay. May not be quite as explorative and fulfilling musically, but you're getting that base pay. And then it allows you to do those other gigs that are like, hey, we might not walk away with much money, but boy, that was really musically satisfying,
It's a great reminder. Yeah, it's a product at the end of the day,
Yeah. I will say I've made the most money I've ever made and the least amount I've ever made. Both were at Tootsie's. So take with that what you will.
That's exactly it.
Yep.
Yeah.
This roundtable is sponsored by Tootsie's.
Let's talk stage presence. Rezo Custom Drum Heads, powered by FDS Drum Services, is the easiest way to upgrade your look without actually, practicing. Rezo is what the pros are using on world tours right now. They've outfitted some of the biggest names in the industry because these custom heads are chip resistant, affordable, come in multiple finishes, and look incredible. Logos, photos, or that weird drawing your bassist did. If you can dream it, Rezo can print it. Plus, they've got 5-star reviews, lightning fast turnaround, and they even do rush orders for you last-minute legends. Stop settling for good enough and get a custom head that survives the road. Get a free t-shirt with your order at rezoheads.com. That's REZO heads.com. Use code NDPFAM for a listener discount. That's NDPFAM. Does anyone have a question they want to ask our fine panelists?
Hi guys, my name is Aaron. The question I had, I've asked some of my friends who've done the Broadway thing, like, what are some avenues you kind of suggest going as far as, meeting people, doing the thing? Like, I kind of understand there a couple different circuits, and you kind of talked about the way they handle how they make their money and stuff. Are there certain avenues that you guys would suggest, like, us kind of going towards, and certain ones that you suggest try to stay away from if you can, is there any advice in that kind of area, I guess?
Correct me if I'm wrong. Does the TC circuit not let people sit in, or is that still a thing?
I think that might be true, actually.
I don't know, but I play that circuit a lot, and we've never had anybody sit in.
I'm pretty sure that like the only time it ever happened was some TikToker was there and like paid like $1 million or something like that. Not that, but like they're like, can we sit in or whatever? But like,
I think their handbook does state that you're
no
not
one's allowed on stage.
No.
It's not an employee.
They're pretty adamant about their rules too. Like they're pretty to the book.
Yeah. So and TC circuit is like, what is it? Luke Bryan. I'm so out of it now.
Wallens, Luke Bryan's, Casa Rosa. There's one more I'm missing. Aldean's, yeah.
Yeah. If you're trying to sit in there, good luck. But I'd go for, I think I got like my best luck when I moved here, like at like Second Fiddle and Tootsie's stuff.
Second Fiddle's no more anymore.
Yeah.
R.I.P. to Second Fiddle, dude.
Oh, gee, I am so.
I think they're remodeling it. I think, yeah.
Okay,
because Legends is remodeling their stuff too.
Word, I did not know that.
Tubbs closed down too.
Yeah.
That new club.
Yeah. Anyways, that's
and
fast.
just quick, what are circuits? I don't think we really defined that initially. The Broadway circuits.
It's like a collection of bars owned by the same person. So the like we mentioned before, the TC circuit, it's TC Restaurant Groups owns that, and it's the same people that own it. And then because of that, it's the same entertainment booker that books all the bars. So, if you are being booked by those people, you'll be placed at one of those venues. A lot of times you'll play a bunch of the different ones, week to week. The Tootsie's, we talk about the Tootsie circuit. That's Tootsie's, Honky Tonk, Central, Rippies, and Kid Rocks.
Yeah.
Is there another
Oh, and
one?
don't forget about Fish Lips.
Yeah, and the Fish Lips Marina, dude. I can't forget about that. Wow.
The arena.
The what?
The marina.
I don't think
Oh,
anyone
the
here
marina,
likes
yes.
it.
Yeah.
There's a little club about an hour and 20 minutes away that if
Golly.
you are on the Tootsie circuit long enough, you will experience playing out there, being forced to play out there. That's going to happen.
Force
The rite of passage.
Yeah.
I've never been there. Is it that bad, really?
It's pretty bad.
No, it's great. It's always great. Every single time. I've never had a bad experience.
You sound like you need a sub for the marina gig. Is it?
I'll call you.
Hey, to answer the question though, if you're just trying to get in to Broadway, like I'm pretty sure Tootsie's is like one of the only places that actually does auditions. So
You were one of the few that like usually drummers don't
show up.
But
I did because I was naive.
but it worked. Like
Yeah.
they're so open to like, I'll give you a shot to play. Like they will let they'll let a lot of people go up there and do their stuff.
Yeah.
So if you and then check, like there's going to be a bass player, a guitar player, and a singer there, and you could meet someone that could be like, hey man, I got this gig, or something that helped me. I got an acoustic gig somehow on Mellow Mushroom's second floor on the rooftop. Fun fact, they used to have music up there. And I didn't know really any of the songs, but playing on Cajon, you really can't screw that up too bad. So that allowed me to like, oh, this is what's being called. And it kind of helped me at the beginning. So don't overlook that as well. If you see maybe like an acoustic thing, you see someone playing Cajon, that might be another way to kind of get in and see what's being called before you play with the full band.
Dude, I love Cajon gigs. They're like a nice break from like the loudness, and you can like hear everything. And it's like, and you don't have to.
That
really
is
know
the hottest
song.
take I have ever heard in my entire life.
I love it,
No
dude.
one
It's
likes Cajon
great.
gigs.
Like especially as a singer, like most of the time I can't hear myself completely when I'm behind a drum kit. So it's like when you're sitting at Cajon, you can hear everything. Like I don't know, it's kind of nice, dude.
Bro, on my last Cajon gig, I literally kicked a hole in my Cajon on purpose and said, whoops, the Cajon's broken. I guess I'm not playing any more songs. And I'm not kidding. 100% did that.
Nathan Sletner, everybody.
It was a wedding gig, so, it's off Broadway.
Did you say? Did you say it was a wedding gig?
It was.
How did the couple feel about that?
We were done.
Okay,
and
all right,
we
cool.
were done. We were way past the time we were supposed to play
Okay.
till, and they kept going. Yeah, just 2 more songs, and I was like, whoops. And then I threw it down the hill. True story.
Hello, my name is Dan. Panelists, hosts, Drum Supply, thank you for hosting this. This is a beautiful evening. I have a bit of a 2-part question. Number 1 is about the future. Nashville and Broadway has grown to be this behemoth since 2010. Part 1, I'm curious to know now in 2026 what you folks all feel Nashville and Broadway will look like in 2050, say. And part 2, Nico, you were talking earlier about your first Broadway gig, popping into cars to get a drum throne. I was curious to know how many trucks you actually tried to pop open before you found the one that had.
It was
said
like
drum
over
throne.
5. Like it was the most generic. He's like, I got a Dodge Ram white truck, and I've never seen so many. And anytime I walk into that garage, which it burned down, so I guess I would. There's another white truck. There's another white truck. Yeah, the library. Surprisingly, it was incredible. But yes, I'm very interested to see what y'all have to say about the future of this changing
Dodge
thing.
Rams.
I'm still thinking about my answer. I can't even.
I think first you got to be alive in 2050. But like, if we're all lucky enough to still be making music, I go between. I don't know about you guys, but like I waffle between like Broadway is eternal. It's this establishment thing now where it's just we've established it as a cultural touchstone. But
Wow, that was poetic.
Also, I thought this. I assumed the same thing was true about Beale Street in Memphis, and Beale Street is a ghost town right now, and it's bad. Like, and it's not Beale Street's fault. Like, Beale Street is still very interesting. They have blues and boogie bars there, and they're all wonderful. Like, the musicians there are awesome. It is like a look into the culture. It's dead. Like, every time I've been to Memphis, it is dead.
That was mostly the pandemic, though, right? Was it?
I imagine it's part of that. Like I said, I don't think it's Beale Street's fault. Like, because I was there 21, 22, 24, 25, like summer, winter, fall, like different times of year, weekdays. And just every time I was there, it was just, there's nobody down there. And it was just kind of sad. And I think that's to say that none of it's really guaranteed, I think, at the end of the day. Like, we can think something's going to last forever.
Yeah.
Like, your body may not last forever. You might get injured. You know what I mean? Like, if we're talking about Broadway itself, it's like, think about yourself. I mean, we're not going to last forever playing, quads. You know what I mean? You can't play quads your entire life. Like, if you can.
I never said I could. I don't
Sorry,
want
he
to.
looked at you and I got spooked. But
I refuse to do them anymore.
right, but it's like, because you get older, your priorities change. Ideally, you make maybe some more money on gigs like that. You don't have to play as many gigs, and you can play better quality, or you can play better on the gigs. But like, I think to a form, it will be around. Personally, I think there will be a correction back to the mean. Because I do think there was kind of like a golden ratio about 5-6 years ago, the number of bars to the number of tourists, and it was like the perfect amount, like the perfect storm where every bar, every floor would be crowded on weekends, and they were all making money. They were all happy. And then, development took over, corporate interests took over, and that led to the overdevelopment. So I feel like there's a correction coming at some point, but I do think it'll be around, to some degree.
Yeah, the more I see, like, I mean, no offense to DJs or anything like that, but anytime I hate to sound like the old guy here, but it's just like every now and then if I see like Aldean's or whatever, and then like after we play, the DJ goes on, and I see like just I don't know what the word is, but like I'm assuming is cheaper than hiring a band, and I do fear like. And with the rise of like AI and stuff like that in Suno, I fear it a little bit. But like you said, it's like you really can't. It could be here, it could not be here, but it's just like, which I hate to not pick a side or pick an answer, but it's just that's what it is. It's just you can see what's going on, and I think it's normal to feel scared, but at the same time, every now and then humanity can surprise you and be like, oh, people still do value live music.
I think it's
And-
partially our responsibility to keep it a place, as musicians, keep it a place that people want to keep coming to too.
Yeah.
Posties is the other TC Circuit bar. Sorry.
Oh,
To answer your question, Dan, I think it's in an adjustment period right now because, like, I think something that people tend to forget is like post-COVID Broadway is not real Broadway. Like, there was this huge pop that happened after the bars open, and like, I don't know if you were working down there at that time. I don't know if you guys were, but like, dude, my phone was ringing off the hook because there were no musicians in town, and now there's all this work, and people need all these shifts covered. And like a lot of the musicians now downtown use that time as a reference point. And it's like, hey, dude, like that was like a bubble. That was like a pocket of time. Like it'll never be that way again. And now I feel like it's kind of readjusting. But I am kind of fearful that it's going to implode on itself because you do have like all these business owners like trying to build and making these 3-story, 4 stories bars, and we don't have the tours to support them. And then they're jacking up the prices to $14 a drink. And it's like, of course these businesses are going to fail. And you see it like constantly. These clubs are constantly like getting bought out. They're constantly getting remodeled. And it's because they can't support themselves because they don't have enough clientele. Like, and they just eat it through the wintertime. But then on top of that, like Nashville is in a way losing some of the charm because it's like when corporate America steps in, it's like, okay, well, now we're really pushing like, you know, Vegas, as you would say. Like some of that thing that makes Nashville is gone, and it is losing it, I think, by the day. And that's scary, but it also means more available work for musicians. So there's a trade-off there. It's like, well, which one do you want, you know? Because like, I don't know that this many musicians could have made a comfortable living in Nashville 40, 50 years ago when Nashville had its charm. You know what I mean? So that's like my argument to the old heads. But yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. Because it's always evolving. You just never know what's going to happen.
I think that if I don't know what shape it's going to take, and to the point about AI, I think that's obviously something that all musicians are thinking about. But I think maybe I'm just an optimist, but I actually think people in the era of AI, where you can just tell a program to build you whatever song you want to hear, I think people are probably going to regress back to, well, actually, I just want to see people play music because this box does the thing and it doesn't matter. There's no value in that. And I think that if you do it excellently, I don't know what shape it'll take, but I believe that will always be rewarded. That's all I know.
That's a great question. Yeah.
Hey guys, I'm Majo. I wanted to ask you, how important would you say that singing as a drummer is, whether it be lead or background singing?
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry, I'm deaf for obvious reasons.
How important would you say that singing is as a drummer, whether it be lead singer or background?
I think you can get work without being a singer as a drummer, for sure. And I think like most of the panel doesn't sing, actually.
I do.
Yeah, you do. So me and you are the only two singing drummers.
Right? 4?
Oh, you do?
Oh, that's 4 then.
Oh,
Yeah, Kevin, Kyle.
Nathan
Nate, and
does?
Molly.
No way, dude. It just makes you that much more hireable. It increases your chances of getting more work, you know? I think to get immediate work on Broadway, singing leads is a little bit more important than singing backgrounds because, like, there's always going to be a point in the show where the singer wants to take a break, where the lead singer wants to take a break, and he's going to look around and like, he's probably going to have a co-front, but sometimes the co-front doesn't want to sing because they're out running the bucket if you're on one of those circuits. And then they're going to look back at the drummer and be like, oh, do you want to sing one? And then they get a break, you know? Being able to sing harmonies is important too, but it's just a little bit less important as it directly relates to Broadway. Like singing backgrounds, I feel like is a little bit more important if you're on like an artist gig. But it's not essential, but it will make you more hireable. That would be my answer.
I will say, as someone who sings like one song every now and then, is like, yeah, it's like, even if you don't, I mean, like, if you don't have like the most amazing voice, but you can carry a tune, there's no reason you shouldn't use that. And then if you have an amazing voice, then by all means you should use it. And it's just, yeah, it's something I wish I focused on a little bit more, I will say, as like, I don't know, just to be able to have that in my back pocket. So
yeah. I would say too, you can use Broadway as a way to become a better singer.
Absolutely.
Like, so for me, the girl that I usually play for, she sings all of like the girl stuff. So what I started doing was I was like, oh, like, let me learn all the harmonies, you know, so I can use my 4 hours. I can sing every harmony to the song that she does. And even if, you know, at first you don't have a microphone in front of you, you can kind of just practice singing along to yourself. And then you can kind of start to incorporate that like into the set too, which just makes you more desirable, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
honestly, just having one or two songs, it really giving whoever's singing a break just by that much can be the make or break thing sometimes. I just really need just a little help.
A singer, like a lead singer doing a double is like the equivalent of us doing a quad as a drummer.
Yeah.
And so it's like,
so hard on their voices.
and so it's tough, for singers, they can't play as many gigs as we do, you know, because the voice is the most fragile muscle that we have. So from that standpoint of making it a more enjoyable gig for everybody else too, you know, like if you're singing there, you know, harmonies can fill in gaps in the mix. If you're just a 4-piece, you know, if you don't have a second guitar or a keyboard, you know, the guitar player's working hard too to fill out sonic space. So harmonies can fill that and fill up a room more. And then it's more fun for everybody. Getting to sing with your friends is like just as good as getting to play drums with your favorite bass player. You know, harmonizing with someone it's awesome.
That's also where those Cajon gigs come into play.
Yeah.
Because if you learn enough material to be able to co-front, your whole world as a drummer is going to open up. And you're going to get calls for things you never thought you would get called for, you know?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, my name's Colin, and I was worried about the click with sub gigs. I was wondering what your opinions on the relationship with using like a Tama Rhythm Watch or something like that for an artist gig that you're getting called for to sub in, that kind of thing. And then second thing, what do you guys think about going to open mic jams as a way to break into the Broadway scene? Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, just off the open mic thing alone, I met Kyle at an open mic thing in Murfreesboro. He used to do this blues bar jam, and I wasn't going there for Broadway. It was just, and that's where I met Kyle, and then we became Facebook friends. And then like 2 months later, I saw on Facebook he needed 2 roommates. So me and my other roommate, Sam, I was like, yo, man, let's actually live in Nashville, not Murfreesboro. So that's how this relationship started, and that truly changed my life. So now I'm not gonna say go to jams and expect stuff, because I'm going to open mic jams kind of sucks sometimes.
Yeah.
It was not the part of Nashville I fondly look at. Like, I remember it would be frustrating going and you're there and you don't know anybody and it's loud and you have to do that hi and do the awkward thing. What are you up to? What do you got going on? You're like, nothing, I'm new. And that's okay, you know? And so, you know, it's like, oh, I got to go play a 12-bar blues. It's not what I moved here to do, but, you know, it's a way to just play and meet people. So don't expect the world every time, but sometimes something huge that can happen that, you know, again, I wasn't expecting to, you know, meet Kyle, and it truly changed my life for the better.
Oh,
yeah.
Thanks, babe.
Yeah, truly. Yeah. So
I'm going to kick you.
Yeah, I think but, you know, they are tough sometimes, and it's really hard to go with the Broadway. You're not going to really find a jam session that's like Broadway material. Mm-hmm. At least like the jams I know of that are in town, they're kind of like at blues clubs. You're going to play blues stuff. There's like this place called the Flamingo that's nothing like Broadway. It's its own thing. And it's a jam. So
yeah, they don't even let you play covers.
A cover. Yeah, you got to make it all up. Yeah. So there's different things. So if you're trying to get into the Broadway thing, I think just trying to sit in that regard, that's probably the better route. But, you know, don't just negate going to open mics. You never know who you're going to meet. And with the click, I think you were refer to the band. Is that what you're asking? Like, should I get the sub on a click, or should I?
I'm trying to think of a perspective of someone who's trying to get gigs, and as someone who's just starting out, I primarily be subbing in a lot, and so in that vein,
some people don't like the click. Some people like it. Like the person I play with, if I played with a click, he would kill me. He hates that. He wants it to move. Some people like that. I think that having the ability to do both is huge. Yeah. Start making, little, it's like Trey back there. I know he's really good. There's like a sheet of music, and it has all the tempos for all the songs. And after a while, we're planning to play this song, he would pull up on the click and you just, put in the tempo. He has a lot of those memorized. I remember just talking to him one day. He's like, oh yeah, this tempo is like 107. This one, it's not a bad thing but do not rely on it though. If you can't play those songs, like, hey man, I need my click. And they're going to, hey, it should have been a cowboy. Oh, hold on, what is that? Like, let me get the 8th note just right. It, just like charts, as long as it doesn't hinder you, and if that's what they want, be able to do it. I've done one gig where they've asked me, hey man, we play it with the click. And I'm like, oh, and it was one of those gigs we didn't pass the tip jar. We read the set list down. That's what it was, So and I was able to, but don't expect a lot to. There's some people that are like that, and at the end of the day, if someone really freaks out over you over 2 BPM, you don't want to be around that person. So don't let there are some horror stories out there of golly, but know your information, being able to, and it's only gonna help if you have that. Hey man, I got my Met here. Do y'all want to do that? Some people yeah, thank God. None of us have played with each other. Let's just take this record tempo, and if you can bring that, that's an A+.
I'm also a big advocate for, I think it's gone now, but Live BPM app is a godsend. I don't know.
There's other versions, I think.
There are okay. I haven't tried other versions. This is why I refuse to get a new phone, because I still have Live BPM on this phone. But it is the most basic app of just, you open it and it literally tells you what tempo you're playing in, and it tells you if you're speeding up or slowing down. It does that, nothing else. There's no ads on it. It's free. It used to be. Now it's just gone. But that was the big thing for me in the beginning. Someone showed me that and I was like, I'm never not using this. I always have that open on any gig I'm doing, no matter who I'm with. Because, Nathan, you mentioned Tyler Gordon, for example. That dude does tempos that I am never comfortable with.
Oh, we do Brightside 160.
Yeah.
It is not 160.
No.
But he wants it at 160. So I have the tempo thing we're playing, and I'm all like, man, this feels comfortable. I'm looking, I'm like, oh, we're at 154. And he's like, let's go. It's the beginning of the show. And I'm like, I got to get this thing up. So when you start playing more with people, then if you have that, then you can just have oh, I know the singer likes it right here. And then they're happy, and you get called again.
If you hear another instrumentalist start a song like Mr. Brightside, for example, it's a good skill to be able to just pick up whatever tempo they're doing and make it feel really, really, really good. Because it's hey, this is faster than record, but you can make it feel good if you're playing if you establish the pocket really well and you play the part really confidently and whatnot. I think that's practicing to the click so much that if you're on the gig, you don't necessarily need to use it. Right, where you can have that pocket where it's even if you are fluctuating just a little bit, it feels like you're playing to a click. You know what I mean? So that way you have that flexibility, whether you need to or not. Yeah.
And I will say there are times when you're going to play with people who are so painfully fast or slow that you'll want that click to kind of anchor them. But as a general rule of thumb, it's good to be comfortable with and without. Because you never know what kind of situation you're going to run into. And like I was saying before, and everybody on this panel has said, dude, it just all depends on who you're playing with. People are going to think that a record tempo is faster than it is, or think that it's slower than it is, or they just want it faster than the record. And that's okay. You have to be comfortable with that as a drummer and make it feel good.
Thank you guys. That's great.
Hey everyone. My name's Christian. So a question to you guys, as drummers, how do you guys go about coming up with arrangements to some songs where the recording doesn't necessarily have a drum part that translates well to playing live? I think one that popped into my head was a bar song, Tipsy. I know that the drum part on it's kind of spaced out. It doesn't really translate well to something that you would want to play live, especially in the beginning. I know many drum players just play what's a country beat?
Train beat.
Train beat, yeah, they'll play like a train beat, and it's not on the record. But I know that some band leaders are like, will look at the drummer like, why are you not playing? Or so like, yeah. Well, how do you guys go about coming up with arrangements that sound better live?
That's a good question.
I mean, I kind of like, especially like a lot of the Morgan Wallen stuff as well. I mean, I kind of just jam out to it, kind of look around, see if anybody's giving you a weird look. If someone's giving you a weird look, maybe switch it up a little bit. But especially with that stuff, it's a lot of the, you know, or whatever, you know, like the trappy. So just kind of translate that to drums, you know, kind of, you'll hear the 808 on the kick, kind of the sizzle is like the hi-hat. I feel like usually if you just kind of mess around with it at first a little bit, if someone doesn't like it, they'll start giving you a weird look and maybe kind of switch it up a little bit. I feel like that's kind of how I do like a lot of the Morgan Wallen stuff, or like the Shabuzi stuff as well. I don't know.
I think that's fair. It's just like finding you may not find the exact timbre, but it's like enough, get the dynamic there. And I think it is just a lot of trial and error sometimes. It's like, you got to be comfortable being like, oh, this next time I'm going to try, just immediately go into this beat instead of trying this. Yeah. But I hate to be this guy, but get a clap stack. Those things are, I mean, that is, those things, especially for like the Morgan Wallen stuff or Shabuzi or whatever. I mean, I literally open every time with the clap stack as the and like no kick, and then just build it slowly and eventually into a train beat. But like, that's like one of the few times I'll be like, get this cool piece of gear and fix your problems. Cause like it's cause also, I mean, it's still a bit of a novelty to a lot of singers. So as soon as they see it, they'll be like, whoa, what is that? That's so cool. And then they'll remember you. And
it's also just a muscle that you develop over time, because you have to think like, even if you're dealing with songs that like don't directly have obvious drum parts, you also will deal with songs that do have obvious drum parts but don't have full instrumentation elsewhere on stage. So it's like, you know, if you only got 4 pieces on stage and the song is like, you know, got a fucking kazoo in the background or whatever, like you're going to need to kind of change your part a little bit. And that's again, a muscle you have to develop. Like, okay, like how can I fill this space without being annoying, essentially? Like, how can I do this in a way that's musical? And if you play enough gigs, that's another thing that Broadway is good for, is like you play enough gigs on there and play enough songs, like you kind of learn how to develop that muscle over time.
And that's true for just arrangement in general, because there are songs that everybody loves, quote unquote, but nobody actually wants to hear the whole thing. Like that's nobody wants to hear the full version of Sweet Home Alabama. Nobody wants to hear that. There are like 2 people that want to hear Freebird really identically to the record, and everybody else stops paying attention 30 seconds into the start. So like it's really you do have to feel it out. Yeah. It's a thing you have to, through experience, just chip away at what should be played and what shouldn't be. You just got to kind of have to try some shit.
We unfortunately got to wrap it up, but I want to thank everybody for coming. Of course, we're going to be hanging afterwards, so feel free to ask these guys questions. Follow them on social media. We're going to do some quick door prize giveaway announcements also. And then we're going to thank our sponsors just quick. Drum Supply, of course. Give it up for Andy. Again, the shop is open, so do with that what you will. Garden Groove, that's where we record our podcast. Big thank you to Taylor Frias for giving us a lot of the equipment from the studio here. We got Drumbox, we got Lowboy, Music City Audiology, as we already mentioned, and then WFL III Ludwig, the Sound of Generations. Big thank you to Kyle Law, who's a recent artist, for hooking us up there.
Big product placement guy.
All right. Well, again, thank you so much for coming. We love doing this stuff for the community. Again, big thank you to Molly Rose, Ethan Harb, Nico Medina, Kevin Keith, Kyle Law. I'm Dan. This is Nate. Check out the National Drummers podcast, and appreciate you guys.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the National Drummers Podcast. If you liked it, please consider leaving us a review on the Apple Podcast app. Please consider supporting us on Patreon. For $5 a month, you can help support this dream and keep the ball rolling for us. Believe it or not, it's not free or even necessarily cheap for us to make this thing go. To sign up, go to patreon.com/Nashville Drummers Podcast or click the link in our Instagram bio. All of your help is greatly appreciated.
Visit our website, NashvilleDrummersPodcast.com, where you can listen to all past episodes, learn more about myself and Nate, and buy all your favorite Nashville Drummers Podcast merch, including t-shirts, tank tops, sweatshirts, hats, and drum heads. Connect with us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube at Nashville Drummers Podcast. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.